Hey everyone, skull902 here, and today we're going to be taking a look back on the year. 2024 is just a little over, what is it? Or actually just a little under 9 hours away from ending here in my time zone anyway. Um, just a fucking wild ride, man. It went so fast. Uh, but here we are, the last day of the year, 2024, and as per usual, I'm going to be taking a look back on the year, showing 17 videos that I thought were my best work of the year. Um, and hopefully we can all have a nice fun time and everything as we take a look back on 2024 with all these videos. I don't have a co-host at the moment, but we'll see if anyone decides to pop in. Uh, but yeah, hopefully it was an enjoyable year for you. Um, and I think content creation wise, it was a pretty enjoyable year for me, and I thought it'd be nice to sit back, relax, and just have a look see at what we did through the year. Um, Now, I'm a variety creator, of course, so I have like different categories of videos that I like to make. And for this year's best of stream, I've got like three sections. So I've got the other section, that's just basically anything, which all happens to be 902RL content. And then there's skits. And then there's the My Thoughts, review type videos as well. That's going to take up the bulk of our selection here today. So let's start off with that other section. And the first one that I'm going to be showing here today is the 902RL season primer behind the scenes video. So when I was making the primer video, I brought Sylv along to record some multiplayer gameplay with me, and we had a blast. Recording footage about rule breaks and other assorted things. Just a real fun time playing that with Sylv and getting into all sorts of hijinks. So I'm gonna play that right now and hope you guys enjoy.
I love fruits.
Fruit is fun.
Yeah, that's why I'm fruity. I love not getting any items on a thing where I'm supposed to fuck you up on.
Oh yeah.
Right?
We'll do a second take if you don't beat me up enough.
That landed on you, right?
Yep. That'll actually be a good clip to use. It looked very interesting. Okay, glove is off. I just drone tailed. I'm 2 places behind you. I'm right behind you. I'm in front of you now.
I'm behind you. I'm in front of you. Oh, cool. You took both of them.
Here, I'm just gonna coast for a second. There you go.
Hey,
God,
can
intentionally not drifting there is fucking weird.
Weird.
Oh, you bumped me on the end there too. Very nice.
That was 100% intentional. Okay, I'm on the right side.
Okay.
If Shogun will stop pushing me, that would be great.
Okay, I'm coming up on you. There we go.
Oh, at least there's the triple boost open for me. Or not?
Your drone got gloved. Oh shit. Oh, double shit.
Damn. I was trying to do another clip. I was like, oh, I got a shot. Maybe we can do another one.
No, the one that you got before was like the way it looked on screen. I mean, you'll see it when the video comes out, but it was perfect. Oh, you would have had that one very cleanly stolen from me too, which is
Oh, yeah,
a bit of an oxymoron, but you know.
cleanly stolen.
All right, let me put myself into position. Okay, so I'm gonna be like right here. Put yourself like diagonal to me.
Like that?
Yeah, just try to do that, but like get in front of me. All right. You wanna like push up a little more against me, if you can. Okay, hopefully this setup works. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, you're doing it! You're doing it! You're doing it! You're doing it! You're doing it, Sylv! Oh, thank God.
Thank God.
Oh my God, it's nice to be able to... Oh, good bump. Nice to be able to play this like a competent human being again. Oh, wow. This is how much we lagged.
And what's fun about this, though, is that the characters usually have some sort of line. Damn.
Big really fucked me up there.
I almost got bumped.
Oh, that was mine. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good good one to use, actually. You bumping into me like that. Oh, that was perfect, too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I like how my Blaze was just like pretty as a postcard. She's just like looking around. Still not drifting. That should help slow me down a bit. I'm surprised I didn't get hit there. Alright, I'm coming up on you. Oh, nice. Alright, wow. I let myself drop 10 places.
Amazing.
Coming up on you. Oh, that was beautiful. Say, are you intentionally falling off there because it's helpful for technique?
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. Oh my God, what the fuck? I got just shot up by nothing. I love this track so much.
It's so good.
I can't wait to deliberately play shitty on it.
Me too!
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Fuck.
Oh damn, they came full circle.
Yeah, they did.
This is good though, we're on our straightaway,
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, you didn't.
Yeah, I did a little late, I'm sorry.
My fault for not actually waiting for the go.
3, 2, 1, go. Well, you know what we had, kinda, sorta.
Because I was thinking over here would be good.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, we'll get a second take on it. Oh wow, it just killed the lobby entirely, huh?
Yeah. Believe it or not, this is Big's paint set.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So you got that like fucking glow in the dark green, and I would have heavily associated that with silver. Oh my God, this is like perfect. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yes. Thank God I got an invincibility here, because I totally fucking fell off.
Oh no. I win.
Yay! I like how we deliberately stuck right in the back, playing shitty, and you won, right?
I did.
Yeah, I got third. That's how well we recovered from that.
That's fucking wild.
Oh,
You got
second. I must have passed up tails right at the last moment.
You get second. You get second.
Well, goddamn. So yeah, there we go. Our first video. Welcome Inwa, by the way, says hello there. James D. Morris. I said it in the chat, but I wanna read it out here. Thank you so much for the member message. Has been a member for 15 months and says, "Hey, 15 months solid Hagen time, baby. Yeah, sweet. Ole." Thank you so much for your continued support, my dude. Uh, Means a lot. So that was our first video of 17. Our next one here in the other section is the highlights from the Morality Motorcade event that Glitch Kitten hosted on her Twitch channel uh, for the 902RL. It was a wild fucking ride. It took way longer than it was planned to. Loads of crashes. It was crazy. Um, so I would have showed like one of the other highlights videos, but like they're pretty long. This one was short because I couldn't like it would have taken so long to make that video if I had tried doing it the traditional quote unquote way. Next up on the other section is the highlights for 902RL Morality Motorcade from July 25th. Hey everyone, skull902 here. While we at the skull902 Racing League are putting everything together for this year's Grand Championship, I thought I'd make this highlights video as a bit of a holdover. On July 25th, the 902RL put on its regular season finale, a Team Sonic racing competition hosted by Glitch Kitten for the Invalid Gateways Festival of Ages. Titled Morality Motorcade, the gimmick was that there would be a hero and villain themed track and, before each race, the viewers would choose between the two of them. Unfortunately, this event was marred by technical difficulties. A normal 902RL competition would take about an hour to 90 minutes to complete. This one took nearly 5 hours. Because of that, this highlights package is going to be more simplified compared to the two others from earlier this year. We had a full lobby for the first time in League history. 11 players competed for the final playoff spot and Uberlord was the single agitator. Here's how things went. We started off with an interview segment, and let me tell you, being in the void was such a trippy experience it had me all backwards. For real though, it went about as well as it could have, and I'll repeat what I said there about hoping that, someday, we can grow the league to be a very accessible place where we can host a multitude of games, and have players of all skill levels feel welcome to compete in. As far as the races were concerned, this was also the first competition to implement a new rule change we adopted earlier in the week to change the scoring system so that 7 players didn't have to finish with just 1 point per race. I'd also like to do something I wasn't able to at the end of the stream, we'll get into why later, and thank Uberlord for creating a Google Doc allowing me to keep better track of the score with so many players on hand, as well as Peppermint for helping keep track of who was using their backup characters during the proceedings. The races started off well enough, with Doctor's Mine experiencing no issues. Iffy finished in first to set the tone of the event. Frozen Junkyard is when the cracks began to show, with Kirby crashing out for last place points. The standings after 2. Boo's house was preceded by a Steam outage and had to be replayed after Jason experienced the void glitch, and even after the restart, that didn't save him or Icy from crashing out. Glitch and Ninetales had some words about pinning, but as you'll see here, there is space between Glitch's card and the wall, so by my estimation, no rules were broken here. You be the judge. Aside from that, it took nearly the entire 2-minute window for the last 2 racers to finish. Here are the standings. Market Street was also replayed due to Jason experiencing the void glitch, after which he forfeited the rest of his races. Ninetales took 1 for the team, and Glitch got fucked up right at the end, causing her to drop 3 places. After the first half, Iffy was on top with a commanding 8-point lead. We took a break at halftime, and when we returned it was time to go to Hidden Volcano. Why Glitch? Was this pinning? I wonder. Quake and Eagle messed her up pretty bad at the end of the lap though. Technical problems continued as Ninetales and Phantom crashed out, the former calling it a night afterward. With Iffy ahead by 9 points, it was going to take a huge comeback for anyone else to win. Off to Ice Mountain next, which was thankfully devoid of technical difficulties. For Glitch, it meant a series of eagles being thrown around. Snectator and Icynado started closing the gap on Iffy, but only by so much. The next race was supposed to be Haunted Castle, but this one turned out to be very cursed. On the first attempt, everyone was booted from the lobby. On the second, a massive desync occurred, which meant that the results couldn't be trusted. Sparkstar forfeited the rest of their matches as the party decided to race on Sky Road instead, where Glitch boosted at the right moment to take the victory. Iffy finished in third, but did just enough to clinch the win overall. Due to the nature of the previous stage selection, this race was not put up to a vote but decided by the party to take place on Thunderdeck. Glitch and Iffy had this amazing trade-off to end the second lap, and our standings afterward led to a tie. With Ninetales out, Dark Arsenal was more of a formality than anything, but it gave the racers one more track to dick around on. It was a wonderfully chaotic race as Dark Arsenal damn well should be, with Kara Maizula officially finishing in 9th place above Ninetales, and Iffy taking first place in the competition, becoming the final qualifier for the 2024 902RL playoffs. Glitch's stream was soon cut off by an internet outage, leaving us unable to do a proper outro, where I planned on giving those thanks to Uber and Peppermint. It was chaotic, it was messy, but it seems the competitors were having fun and the audience, from what I could tell, weren't getting bored, so I'm thankful for that. I'd like to thank Glitch and the Invalid Gateway team for hosting the league during this festival. It really shows the support we have from GK as a member of our staff to want to bring us to such a big stage. What's more, the technical difficulties had me stressed out a bit and I called a meeting with the league staff about it. I'd like to thank Glitch, TTP, and Laz for helping turn my frown upside down during said meeting. You guys are great. Don't let anyone tell you different. That'll be it for this highlights package. Congratulations to Iffy for winning the event, and we'll bring you the Grand Championship as soon as we can. I have been skull902, thank you for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day. So there we go, blah blah blah. I wanted to say R and go at the same time. There we are. Yeah, another congratulations to Iffy for winning Morality Motorcade. Again, another just wild, absolutely crazy event. Next up in the lineup here is the 2024 902RL Grand Championship intro. So after the first round of the playoffs, everything was set. Even though like there were some things that went unexpectedly, like say Deadbolt qualifying because I counted the points wrong. Nico being unable to participate was caused by a miscommunication, but once everything was settled, I put together an intro, and I thought that it was pretty cool. So here is that.
February 6th, 2024. The Skull902 Racing League begins its second season the way it ended its first. A private, friends-only league with a limited amount of players. But plans are in place behind the scenes to open it to the public. 2 months later, that would come to pass, with 3 communities converging, all with one goal: to make the league an open, accessible place for anyone to enter. Since the start of the 2024 season, 18 competitions have been played. The league has been seen on a large stage, and the first round of the playoffs has been completed. 31 individuals played throughout the season, all vying for a chance to reach the top of the mountain. We are now down to the final 6. But which of these 6 can push past their opponents and earn the right to wear the crown? Last year's defending champion, dead set on retaining his title. The league founder, looking for redemption after an underperformance in the first round. The connoisseur of crime, with a keen ability to throw her opponents off balance. A quick learner, whose ability to adapt has proven dangerous time and again. The longtime player with an encyclopedic knowledge of the games being played. Or the energetic youth, earning a second chance when it looked as though his season was over? It all comes down to this: the 2024 902RL Grand Championship.
Yeah, man, that was a fun event. Let me tell you. Uh, but doing the racing league in general this year was pretty fun. We Spidey says that was pretty neat. Thank you. Uh, Doing the racing league in general was pretty fun this year, and aside from being unable to do a lot of the experimentals that we planned on doing, like things mostly came out as we planned, uh, and whatnot. Um, so I would consider this season a success um, in most ways. Uh, so yeah, the next one is a new video that was uploaded just earlier today. Um, Today is the final day of operations under the skull902 Racing League name. So as soon as the clock hits midnight, we will officially be the worldwide accessible gaming league. No more 902RL. It's on to a new name, new style, new goals and adventures. Uh, and all that nice stuff. So as the month was closing, um, I was trying to think of something special to do, maybe to commemorate, the league as we knew it, and whatnot. So I thought of a nice little sentimental transitional piece to mark the end of the 902RL as it becomes the WAGL or Waggle, which is an officially accepted pronunciation. Um, Spidey says new. Wow, I don't even remember the last new thing I saw. I know, right? There's been lots of videos in December, actually. But uh, earlier today, I did upload this video. Um, and let me just make sure I get the link copied and all that. So here, for your viewing pleasure, uh, is a tribute to the 2024 902RL season. Why, hello everyone. Skull902 here, and we're starting the 2024 Skull902 Racing League season. Silv qualifies for the ASRT Championship. Again, qualifying for the TSR Championship is Silv with 45 points. Behind the scenes, we've been hard at work planning to expand the league from something I was doing with friends to bringing multiple communities together.
I am so honored and excited to be able to host the first inaugural Skull902 Racing League expansion.
With the first perfect game in 902RL history, Ultrasonic Hero with 48 points. Congratulations, my man. And Jason is in first place with 18 points. There's not going to be any tie here between Jason and Laz, who are currently tied at first with 35 points apiece. Laz completes the comeback, winning this competition with 40 points. Nico, 14,370.
Stupid rocks! You're making me look bad!
Oh my
Oh,
god. Nico
no
just fucking destroyed everybody.
You've got a green car. That's violent. Oh, it's that time already, guys. It's that time already. Teen Crime Gambler Roller Coaster is here.
Welcome in for another evening of Festival of Ages 24. Ah, it crashed!
Oh my god. Our first place competitor who wins the 2024 ASRT Championship is Nico. Laz is in first place, unfortunately, with 12. Uber in first place with 28. Uber in first place with 30 points. Sylv and Laz are the only other ones in contention. And in first place, our 2024 TSR champion is Sylv with 33 points. Congratulations. Who will it be? Uber leads the pack with 6 points. I'm in the lead with 14 points. Sylv is now in the lead with 18 points. Oh, fuck. Yeah, Uber is really on me right now. Uber, my god, you gave me a fucking fight. Uber's in third place with 27 points. Uber's in third place with 33 points.
It was Gilius ahead of me.
Oh, TGP, what the fuck? Uber and I are tied.
Oh my god, it's fucking playing
God
again.
damn it. Our bronze medalist, me, with 38 points. Our silver medalist, Uberlord. Good, impressive comeback there. The 2024 902RL Grand Champion, Silver Ness, with 48 points. Congratulations, my dude. Yes, indeed, the next chapter is soon upon us. Again, as soon as the clock strikes midnight, we will officially be known as the Worldwide Accessible Gaming League, WAGL Waggle. Looking forward to the 2025 season. We've got a new category, TSR teams, along with the Sumo Sonic Digital, Sumo Digital Sonic division, where ASRT and TSR singles take place. Oh man, happy new Waggle. Damn right, Spidey. Looking forward to those competitions and again, more experimentals and whatnot. Hopefully all turns out right and everyone has a load of fun and all that good stuff. Let me just clear up my stuff here. Next up is skits. I still do those, and I've got 3 of them to show for you guys here today. The first one was my April Fool's video. I had it disguised as like a My Thoughts quickie about Tails, but it was really a completely bonkers fucking idea that I had a few months beforehand. Like I think I rendered the video in January. So I waited to post this one for a good while, and it just had it was just a bunch of stupidity, which is like my wheelhouse. So yeah, exactly, Spidey, the good one. Coming up next in the lineup here is Green Goblin storyline of the Amazing Spider-Man explained by an idiot. Let's get into it.
Hello, I am an idiot. Spectacular Spider-Man was one of the cartoons ever on television, and in both seasons there was the Green Goblin, who started attacking people, making Spider-Man and even other villains really mad, but nobody knew who he was. Later it was revealed that Harry Osborn was taking drugs, particularly one called globulin meth. Its green color meaning that he was the Green Goblin. But then it turned out that Harry's father, Norman Osborn, had actually set him up and was the real Green Goblin this whole time. After Spider-Man fights him and a big explosion happens, Norman is presumed dead. However, later we see him in disguise going on a small vacation, which of course means that the actual Green Goblin was Aunt May.
Thanks for watching. Thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day.
Later it was revealed that Harry Osborn was taking drugs, particularly one called globulin.
God damn it. This fucking line is played through my head like a million times, and I still laugh at it. That joke, and one in the next video that I'm showing, I came up with like around the same time, and had an equally strong reaction to both of them. They just cracked me up quite a bit. Idiot, I relate. Don't relate to that, Spidey. I'm supposed to relate to that. I'm an idiot. So, yeah, that was the Green Goblin April Fool's video. Had a load of fun making that one. Another video that I had a load of fun making was Shadows Confusion 3. So my career as a voice actor and sprite video maker, animator, is coming to a close. I was winding down. I'm not really leaning into those aspects of myself being a creator. Starting to let go of those things. And this was like my last short form sprite video that I'm making, or that I've made. So it concluded a series that I started 7 years ago. Did not mean to have it go on for that long, but here we are. Yeah, I just thought that it was nice to conclude the little mini-series parodying the Shadow the Hedgehog game, and had a load of fun, and made some jokes that I'm happy with, including the one that got me fucking reeling in laughter, and all that. So without any further ado, let us jump into Shadows Confusion 3.
We have seen the struggles that one Shadow the Hedgehog has had to face in order to discover the secrets of his past, from the beginning, to multiple possibilities in the middle, and now to the end. This is Shadows Confusion 3.
Finally, I've got all the Chaos Emeralds. Now I can go discover those details about my past.
Well done, Shadow.
Damn it, spoke too soon.
You've gathered all 7 Chaos Emeralds for me, and now all you have to do is hand them over.
Shadow, give me the Chaos Emeralds! What? Why? This is my game. I don't know. That's just how it usually goes.
Shadow! If you don't hand over the emeralds to my good buddy Sonic, who I'm hanging out with for some reason, we could all be in danger!
I'm not giving Sonic the emeralds. And since when was he your friend? I don't even know. He just kinda started bugging me about being in the group.
I can't have a good conversation with an egg pawn, alright? No need to make fun of me for trying to be social.
Enough. Shadow, are you giving me the emeralds or not?
Yeah, how about no? You just kinda barged in, gave me orders, and then betrayed me when I did exactly as I was told.
Traitor!
In other words, kiss my ass.
Very well then. I'll just take the emeralds for myself.
Hacks! Hacks, I say! I'm so shattered over this. Someone call Microsoft support! Oh no!
Why this makes me so angry? I'm gonna throw a punch! Hey, I'm stuck.
Quick, everyone make a silly pose.
You have all come under the effects of the paralyzing gas that flows through the Black Comet. Each of you now prone to being eaten alive by my spawn, which are conveniently waiting patiently off screen. And now, Shadow, the truth of what happened 50 years ago. Professor Gerald Robotnik needed to create the ultimate life form. So using my blood...
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I'm done.
But you wanted to find out your past. I'm your father. Doesn't that shock you?
The only thing shocking me is how bad the plot of this game is. Now let me kick your ass.
Lol, no.
I don't get to fight him? Now what do? Play another level. Son of a bitch.
I see you made it through our defenses, Shadow. Just in time to see our plan come to fruition. Now that the Black Comet is on Earth.
You clearly brought the Black Comet down here with the power of the Chaos Emeralds so you could unleash the paralyzing gas on humanity and use them as fuel for your army, yada yada yada. Can we get a move on? I'm about to miss my soaps.
Wow, you're no fun. How about I just take a hold of you with my mind control? Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah, it's not working.
Of course. It must be because of my DNA running through your veins.
Uh-huh, sure. Riveting story we got going on.
Come on, SBO. Can't you decrypt these files any faster?
I'm a goddamn ninja. Why do you think I'd be able to do this in the first place?
Because you're, sneaky?
Good God, Vector.
Hey, wait a sec. If Shadow's computer hacking skills have taught me anything...
Charm me, you idiot. Now we're gonna have to fix the computer.
Hello, I am Professor Gerald Robotnik. I see you found my secret video.
It worked!
What's going on here?
Professor?
Now that it has been uncovered, I'd like to give the gift of this dance to a very special hedgehog. Happy birthday, Shadow. Ooh, ah, eck, Shadow.
Oh, good God, Grandfather, stop! That's disgusting!
Maria, whatever do you mean? I'm just getting my groove on. Ah! My back!
We need to get you to the infirmary. Were you recording this?
Wait, Maria, it's for Shadow's birthday.
What the Christ was that?
That was so gross. Out of my way. I need to...
Charming. Let me just... Now I have the hacks.
Shadow, you have to help me. The black arms are not meant to vomit. If I do it 2 more times in the next minute, I'll be dead. Grab my horns and...
Well, I can't have you calling Microsoft support on me now, can I? So here's my plan. Superform. Chaos Control. Chaos Control. And, wait for it, you're gonna love this. Chaos Control! Wow, that was incredible!
Do you think he made it out okay?
No doubt, Rouge. After all, he is Shadow. And as the star/producer of this game, he is not only the best fighter, but is also the smartest, most handsome, and he has the biggest...
Is he the writer, too? How self-indulgent can you get?
No, actually, he wasn't.
And what kind of video wrote these god-awful lines?
How dare you make fun of this masterpiece, Eggman? I'll get you!
Uh-oh! Gotta go!
Whatever it was you were trying to do for me, Professor, I think I've been left scarred for life. And thus, I must move on from what happened all those years ago. Goodbye forever, Shadow the Hedgehog.
And there we go. In the chat there, I linked the complete series, which I released later in the year, just earlier this month. And that not only has a slightly extended ending for 3 that it wasn't released with the original video, but it also does that for 2, and has new upscaled frames for the first 2 videos in the trilogy as well. So you get the complete package there with the compilation. Spidey says, "Glad you didn't show Gerald's dance." Yeah, it leaves things up to the imagination. But, considering the reaction of Black Doom, Shadow, and Maria, it must have been horrifying to look at. So there we go. Shadows Confusion 3. Again, just another nice little romp. And the last of my sprite shorts before Clone Calamity, the sprite movie, comes out. That's going to be my last sprite video. Whenever it comes out, the planned release date right now is May 9th. And I'll let you guys know about the progress of that and everything. But we must move on to the next video, which is Sonic's next big crossover. This one I made for Trip, my buddy Trip, for his birthday. So I just wanted to do something like dumb and silly that like he and I both would understand. So that's what we're doing next, is Sonic's next big crossover, Trip's birthday video. So yeah, let's get into that one.
Hello, I'm John Sega. With the recent announcement that the Mario and Sonic Olympic Games series has been cancelled due to esports and NFTs of all things, many of you are left saddened. However, this can be a happy occasion, as we at Sega have been hard at work and are now ready to unveil the next great crossover between two iconic media franchises.
Rated M for mature.
Oh no! I've been caught by Sonic the Hedgehog! I was pulled up by the hook! Big, what the hell is this thing? Urban Dictionary defines CBT as
Thanks for watching. Thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day.
Sonic and Gaither's Pond is a platforming game based on Japanese history. So here's this giant enemy squid. You attack its weak point for massive damage.
This was what, Spidey? A masterpiece? But yeah, wanted to make that one for my good buddy Trip. Pack in some references that no, I don't know. Pack in some references that that we would understand and whatnot. Just another one of those like really fucking dumb videos, you know. Just love making stupid humor, and that video is a good example. So yeah, we're going to be moving on to our next and final section here. The biggest one, though, 10 videos in the My Thoughts section. First one is The Good and the Bad of Amy Rose, Revisions and Critiques. So this one is a follow-up of the Amy Rose character analysis video that I made last year. I had received some comments making some counterpoints to the things that I was saying, and I'd also like revised my position on certain things and whatnot. So like I took the criticisms into account and made responses to them, essentially. You know, either defending my position, changing something, what have you. I'll show you in the video. So let us get to that right now. So again, that's The Good and the Bad of Amy Rose, Revisions and Critiques. Hey everyone, skull902 here. Last September, for the character's 30th anniversary, I released The Good and the Bad, an Amy Rose character analysis. While there were some like-minded viewers, there were others that disagreed. Unsurprising, since Amy's a divisive character. With this video, I'll be going over some of the criticisms, making some clarifications such as points I should have made or could have explained better in the original video, as well as revising some of those positions since Sonic Superstars, the third update of Frontiers, and Dream Team have come out after the video's release. Let's get started. Number 1. What about manga, Archie, or Fleetway Amy? As explained at the beginning of the original video, there's two reasons for this. The first is that I don't think these depictions of the character really played a role in how she was portrayed in the games. They're all kinda in their own little world, even post-reboot Archie. The second is time. It already took me quite a bit of time to catch up with the IDW comic to write that section of the original video. Archie in particular has quite a backlog, and Amy debuted in issue 25, out of 290. And that doesn't account for things like the Sonic Universe side comic. Fleetway's not quite as bad in that respect, but they also published bi-weekly instead of monthly, so it's still more than normal. Then, of course, with the original manga, there's the added issue of finding a reliable translation. So for these other comic Amy's, maybe someday I'll have a look, but for now it would take too much time considering all the other projects I've got going on. Number 2. Amy in Sonic Heroes. In the original video, I said Amy's depiction in Sonic Heroes was one of the bad ones due to her obsess-over-Sonic tendencies, citing examples such as the pre-fight dialogue with Team Sonic and the Egg Emperor, and just kinda left it at that. Some people in the comments disputed it based on some encouraging comments she makes toward Cream and Big, which I should have pointed out in the video. She even confronts Sonic on Froggy and Chocola's whereabouts during the Team Sonic fight itself.
Give back Froggy and Chocola! You won't get away with it!
Originally, I dismissed that one because the fight rarely takes so long that you'd actually get to hear it, but that also doesn't mean it isn't there, as one viewer rightly pointed out. I don't necessarily think that they mean Amy's priorities are unskewed, though. It comes across to me like she saw Froggy and Chocola's disappearances as a bonus. She wants to help her friends and find them, sure, but the fact it helps her find Sonic is a pretty big factor, and it's evident with the examples I showed in the original, in my opinion. So it's not quite as bad as I originally thought or other depictions like most of X, but still not that good either. Speaking of X, though. Number 3. You think Amy can't have any rough aspects. Probably the biggest source of disagreement came from how I described her personality and actions in her bad depictions, mostly in Sonic X, and the missteps I cited from the IDW comics. For the record, I stand behind everything I said in the video regarding these examples, and I'm gonna explain why. Let's start with episode 42 of Sonic X. One person claimed I took the moment out of context because Amy apologizes to Chris in the Japanese version. I double-checked, found that she said she was serious, and responded in kind. The reply that I got was that Amy was serious about the situation with Sonic, which I mean, yeah, serious enough to threaten one of her friends and feel the need to apologize for it. Near the end, she does appear to learn her lesson, which would undo some of the damage, but proceeds to drop it after Sonic sidesteps her because he's also an ass in most of the series. Though it did at least give us one of the greatest titles for an officially uploaded Sonic video on YouTube. And I get that alternate universes are a thing too, right? 90s movie April O'Neil is very different from 2012 April, so on and so on. But in X's case, the whole point was for the show to resemble the games that inspired it. As far as those moments with Jewel in the IDW comic are concerned, a comment I received was that the trial by fire moment was, quote, peak Amy, which I gotta disagree with. The part where she pep talks Jewel? Certainly. But I just don't see how publicly peer pressuring her to make up a plan on the fly is a great example of her characterization, especially when being understanding is one of her defining traits. Double especially that she knows Jewel is anxious, and triple especially considering how Jewel had been carrying herself throughout the whole trip up to that point. She never outright said it, sure, but the body language and facial expressions on display paint a pretty good picture of how she was feeling faithless in her abilities. Insensitively telling a crowd of increasingly angry people, "Hey everyone, I know who can solve all of our problems, look at her, she's right here," is more on brand for Tangle, not Amy. Then there was the way the transition of leadership in the Restoration was handled, and again, Amy knows Jewel is a worrywart and hasn't battled a day in her life. One particularly argumentative viewer's counterpoint to this was that Amy's enacting some kind of self-preservation and, where Jewel was concerned, wrote in all caps, "She asked for it," which, first and foremost, I sincerely hope isn't how you respond to mistreatment of people in the real world, because that sounds really toxic, and secondly is demonstrably false. She comes to Amy asking to handle the organizational responsibilities of the Restoration, not make up battle strategies. She even says, and I quote, "I'm just handling the paperwork." Natalie Fordrain even drew Amy carelessly shoving everything off onto Jewel in the RI cover of issue 31. It's a perfect demonstration of my point. With this in mind, by my estimation, Amy effectively did to Jewel what Knuckles did to her. and I would have been fine with these two moments being in there if there had been any kind of recognition on Amy's part whatsoever. They very easily could have tied these into the confidence arc Evan decided to cut short. The stress of leading the restoration having Amy mistakenly believe the deal with Jewel was different to what they actually agreed to, and perhaps if she had that hypothetical close call win-or-loss against Clutch that I mentioned in the original video, her loss of confidence could have carried itself into relying too much on Jewel to make up a plan during the forest fire. Have Jewel express that it's putting undue pressure on her as well, then Amy apologizes and they work together to help, raising both characters' belief in themselves. Boom! It's said at the beginning of the third storyline that there apparently was a bit more of a transitional period after Amy threw Jewel under the bus, but it's such a footnote it feels more like Evan put it there as a band-aid on what Ian wrote rather than anything else. Knuckles apologized to Amy for the way he handled shoving off the Resistance's responsibilities onto her, and that's great, I like that, and I think Amy should apologize to Jewel for that as well. Another viewer argued that I can't let Amy have any edge, and that's not true either, although I will say I should have included these examples of her being super angry while still being in character. In Sonic Riders she was alright, makes a single weird comment to Sonic but is otherwise helpful and supportive throughout the story. When Sonic unnecessarily risks seriously hurting her to stop Eggman, I can't exactly blame her for how pissed off she is afterward. How about one from X? Episode 52 when Eggman and his crew disturb the peace while she's stressed out and trying to relax, especially after being on the losing side of a verbal evisceration by the villains. During the Chow races in IDW, when our heroes are trying to evacuate the lodge and Omochao tries to stop them for some bureaucratic bullshit reason and she has to do a little convincing with her hammer to get him out of their way. That's the kind of angry Amy that I can get down with. It says that she's the heart of the team, but if you needlessly or purposely put others at risk, and or betray her trust in Sonic's case, you're quickly gonna get on her bad side and that's nowhere you want to be. So with that in mind, I ask, is it really unreasonable of me to think that the character who's supposed to be the sweet, caring, and deeply understanding one shouldn't be outright bullying people? Number 4. This video is Sun Amy propaganda. This one's really minor and is related to the last section, so I'm just gonna stick it here and be quick about it. Some felt that I was saying Amy's bad depictions were only bad because I wanted to mold her into the perfect soulmate for Sonic or something along those lines. And I'm like, no? Where did that idea even come from? Me saying that Amy's growth made Sonic less averse to being around her? That's just character development, bruh. They can still just be good friends. I never mentioned shipping or wanting to ship them in the video at all. I've mentioned in other videos and streams before that I'm not really the hardcore shipper type. Present to me a pairing and I can tell you whether I think it makes sense, but I'm not about to become fanatic about it, you know? And while I do think Sonic and Amy could work out as a couple, it doesn't matter to me either way if they end up becoming one or not. And to end things off, some new Sonic material has been released since the original video came out, so let's take a dive into Amy's characterization in Sonic Superstars, Dream Team, and Update 3 of Frontiers. Not much to mention here as it isn't really a story-heavy game, but Amy got some really nice bits with Trip that I love. Amy's side level is the only one necessary to beat the game, and in it she sympathizes with a crying Trip after Fang leaves her trapped in a pit. She gives a gift to the lizard after getting her out of there, and this convinces Trip to stand up against Fang when he's about to attack Sonic & Co., Amy introducing the others to her after she gets Fang to temporarily fuck off. Nice and heartwarming stuff. Much the same in this game. Amy's openly nice, encouraging, and caring, like when she expresses concern for Cream before the second boss fight, keeps a positive attitude along with a sense of lighthearted banter, and some leadership qualities thrown in there as well. She's an important contributor to the cause, which I really gotta give the game credit for. One thing I felt as I was watching the cutscenes was that it seemed everyone played an equal part, and that's pretty cool. It's not easy to maintain a balance like that. And I mean, just look at this amazingly expressive animation. Overall, I liked what I saw from Dream Team. The update roadmap for Sonic Frontiers got people excited and for good reason. Our companions will be playable in 3D for the first time since 06. New story content? Let's go. The results were fairly divisive gameplay-wise, but how did the story serve a certain pink hedgehog? Personally, I think Amy's portrayal was mostly a continuation of the traits I liked about her in the base game, so there's not much to mention about the pros. She shows concern for her friends, wants to keep the Coco safe, risks herself to do so, good shit. There are, however, 2 moments in here that don't sit quite right. First is relatively minor because it doesn't hurt Amy's characterization at all, but rather takes away from what they were building up with Tails. After Sonic completes the first 4 trials, the end looms closer. Tails is worried about the Coco and Knuckles wants to kick some ass. Amy gets them to simmer a bit and regroup, drawing up the plan for the 3 of them going forward. While I think the idea of that is fine and in character, consider that Tails has been doubting himself since he got freed on Chaos Island. I think it would have served the plot a bit more if he had a boost of confidence by this point and played the role Amy did in that cutscene. Just wasn't the right circumstance, I feel. The one I really disagreed with was, when playing as Sonic, you can find and talk to Amy in the hub. The very first thing she says in this exchange is, and I quote, "I'm not just a damsel in distress anymore." That comes off to me like she believes Sonic doubts her ability, which feels so wrong. Sonic's not the kind of guy, in my opinion, that would dismiss anyone who had the ability or potential to do good. He's generally pretty encouraging in that department, and even earlier in the base game tells her that he wants to hear all about the adventure she plans to go on after the whole thing is said and done. On Amy's part, considering how this attitude of his partly inspired her to become a hero herself, not to mention her understanding side, she would be well aware of that. Unless this whole conversation was brought about by an extremely momentary bout of insecurity or something, it just doesn't make sense to me. Hopefully I did a good job of further explaining my viewpoints and how I eased up on some of them, even for those who don't agree. And to those people, you're perfectly valid. Everybody's got their own opinions. Another creator released an analysis of Amy only a couple days after my video, wondering why she wasn't so bubbly in Frontiers and contending that the line about spreading the kind of love she saw in the flashback to the world made no sense. To that I say tonally, Frontiers just wasn't that type of game, and I think it was pretty clear she meant the kind of love that would have two people ignoring all the troubles around them to find comfort in one another. But that's just me, though. At the end of the day, as long as you aren't using your opinions to shit on those of other people, it's all good. For real, there was a person who went through the entire comments section on a different video of mine picking fights with anyone who even slightly disagreed with them. That's shitty behavior. Don't be like that. Everyone's free to like or dislike a character whichever way they choose. That's just about it for this one. Those are my thoughts on Amy's character writing. In my opinion, it's looking pretty good at the moment, and hopefully stays that way for years to come. Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know all day. Couldn't find anywhere else to put this, but another argument I got in the comments of the previous video was that I was okay with Knuckles getting bullied because I had no problem with him and Sonic bantering like in Frontiers. I don't see how that equates to me thinking Sonic dismissing Knuckles' concerns on the shuttle in SA2 or the Blue Typhoon crew stealing the Master Emerald in X is fine and dandy. Like, it's very clearly not. This was the same person who was cool with Amy mistreating Jewel, by the way. Funny how that works out. Hello to Santiago Lopez. Welcome to the stream. Says, hello, it's been a while. Hello. You're here with plenty of time, though. Still plenty of videos to go over and whatnot. So yeah, thank you for stopping by and saying hello. And to Swift as well. Hello, welcome in. Our next one, fam, is yes, is the Resistance / Restoration. Who's the worst leader? So, I noticed some things about how Knuckles led the Resistance and Sonic Forces in the first arc of IDW, and then how Amy took over and turned things into the Restoration, and how she handled certain situations, and then the situation where Jewel took over, and how she handled certain situations. I wanted to compare them all and see who was the worst and who was the best. So. Sorry. So that's the premise for the Resistance and Restoration Leaders video. So I'm going to show that right now. The Resistance / Restoration. Who's the worst leader? Hey everyone, skull902 here. In preparation for my Amy character analysis video last year, I did some major catching up on the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comic, which introduced the Restoration, a successor organization to the Resistance from Sonic Forces. While I like the comic, a fair bit of my problems with it have actually come from how the Restoration has been run. In my opinion, it hasn't been great, no matter who the big cheese is. Since responsibility for the shortcomings of any group falls on the ones in charge, I thought I'd take a look and compare the way Knuckles ran the Resistance as its commander, followed by Amy and then Jewel as the leaders of the Restoration, in the positions of organizer and director respectively, to see whose performance was, or in Jewel's case has been, the worst. Let's take a look. After Eggman's nearly taken over all of the world, most of its heroes banded together to form the Resistance, a military group with the goal of restoring the world to its pre-war state. Knuckles is made its commander. Sounds sensical, since the Echidnas were a warrior race. Knuckles seems to know a thing or two about fighting strategically and giving out those orders to any soldiers the Resistance have. But is he really, though? Soon after forming, they recruit the Rookie, who's instrumental in helping them rescue and gain the services of Sonic. After that, and especially once Tails joins, it's largely Sonic and Tails making the plans and Knuckles is just kinda there to go, oh, yeah, let's go with that. But let's talk about when he does make a plan, shall we? Operation Big Wave. Knuckles sees an opportunity to invade an Eggman stronghold, and comes up with this strategy in a minute and a half. It should come as no surprise that the Resistance lose 80% of their forces in the ensuing battle. This idiocy shows to me that Knuckles has no idea what he's doing in a large-scale environment. In the first arc of the IDW comic, he's depicted a little better, managing the fight with Rough and Tumble as well as retaking Angel Island after Metal Sonic commandeered the Master Emerald. Once the island's restored, though, Knuckles wants nothing to do with leading the world's recovery efforts, disbanding the Resistance and carelessly shoving its remaining obligations off to his second-in-command, Amy Rose, which, as in character as that is, doesn't exactly scream leadership qualities. Based on what we get, Knuckles seems to be the type that can handle leading the charge, but only on a small-scale, battle-by-battle basis. This would have made him a better general than a commander. Otherwise, there's some glaring incompetence, which I'll get into with my summary at the end. From the ashes of the Resistance, the Restoration is formed by Amy Rose, who takes over operations out of obligation. She generally got to show off some good leadership skills, evacuating citizens, fighting off threats, and coordinating their efforts, showing some resourcefulness in that regard as well. A major fuck-up was the lack of security protocols in Restoration HQ for stopping the spread of the metal virus, which leads to a very preventable outbreak that ends up infecting most of the people there and leaving the HQ in ruins. However, one could argue that it was already a high-stress situation that our heroes didn't have a lot of time to prepare for. I personally think the writers could have gone about it in a different way to make the good guys look more competent, especially since we see during Jewel's reign that the Restoration learned absolutely nothing from that mishap. More on that later. Speaking of stress, though, Amy's time as the organizer is marked by the high amount of it she suffers from trying to keep everything together, rocking her confidence. Someone in the comments of my character analysis video for Amy argued that she didn't undergo a confidence arc at all and that the way she hands off leadership to Jewel, which I'll get back to in just a bit, was quote, course correction for her being in a place she shouldn't have been, and are we reading the same comic? As far as course correction is concerned, the entire story up to and during this point was written by the same guy, and the character arc is so obviously deliberately planned. Throughout the entire Metal Virus storyline, we get dialogue from Amy such as, "Why did I agree to this? How do you do it? I don't know how much more I can take. I can't do this. I'm no leader." Does that not sound like someone who's struggling with stress and self-esteem issues? In my opinion, this also disproves those who think that Ian Flynn and IDW as a whole are trying to use Amy as some kind of a stand-in for Sally. Amy can manage being the #1 person in charge and leading from afar, but only for so long, because the pressure of everyone relying on her for guidance and drawing up plans for every engagement going on in the world would eventually make her crumble. Her true place is on the battlefield, where she can strategize when she's in the thick of the action if she needs to. Sally, meanwhile, can do both. She was raised in a royal family and properly trained to deal with being responsible for literally everyone else, so she can plan and give out orders from a distance or up close, and kick ass directly as well. So, with the pressure reaching a fever pitch, Jewel offers to take up responsibilities for the organizational side of things. Amy apparently took this as her volunteering to do everything and subsequently throws her under the bus when a fight with Eggman breaks out, despite Jewel having zero battle experience and knowing how anxious a person she is. I've covered this moment a couple times on the channel already, so to be succinct, I think it was a badly written, out-of-character moment for Amy, which unintentionally justifies all the doubt she placed on herself, giving Jewel the same treatment Knuckles gave her despite promising not to do so. It said a couple issues
Aw.
later that she did fill Jewel on some stuff while the HQ was being rebuilt, but in my opinion that bit of dialogue was a
Ew.
band-aid and the damage was already done. If you want to hear more about it, I've got my Amy character analysis and the follow-up to it on the channel. Unlike the previous two, Jewel is a non-fighter, which is something I think makes her being the leader interesting. She debuts in the 2019 annual where we see her as the curator of the Mineral Museum in Spiral Hill Village. She takes things like organizing and cataloging very seriously, and brings that experience with her to her current position in the Restoration. The organization has generally kept itself together pretty well under her leadership, with a good communications network between our heroes, including non-members such as Sonic, and the rebuilt HQ, which not only houses their operations and supplies, but, on the upper levels, acts as something of a huge concourse for citizens to mingle. They also offer housing for volunteers and civilians that need it. It's all built underground, leaving the ruins above it untouched as some kind of memoriam for past events, which is a little weird, but it doesn't really hurt the story. Taking after Sonic's philosophy of second chances, they're also willing to hear out past criminals who say they've had a change of heart, though that policy is very susceptible to those that would take advantage of it by lying. Jewel keeps herself busy, and while her confidence does get tested every now and then, she's able to handle it and get back on track. And that would kind of be the end of it if the restoration under her watch wasn't so lackadaisical, which leads to a load of costly mistakes. Remember when I mentioned the metal virus outbreak that destroyed the old HQ? Well, the new one starts off with no increased security measures. There are barely any guards around because Jewel doesn't think there's enough crime going on to justify it. Note how Eggman nearly took over the entire world in forces. This is where the world's protective organization is based, where all their info and supplies are. It is such a compromising decision, and it unsurprisingly allows the Deadly Six to break in and nearly take over the place. Also compromising is this little tool shed with an easy-to-crack secret code that lets Dr. Starline infiltrate the base at the same time. Speaking of which, as good as the communications technology is, it seems as though our heroes are pretty bad at getting info out there to the rest of the organization. Starline breaks in, and despite the fact our heroes have run into him, knowing he's partly responsible for the metal virus outbreak, none of the workers in the machine shop know who he is. Same goes to when Jewel falls for Clutch's bullshit. Again, Sonic, Amy, Tails, Cream, Rouge, and the Chaotix have all dealt with this guy. How in the ever-loving shit does Jewel not know who he is or what he looks like? Could they not have just had Mimic do a second disguise and fool her that way? I will say, at the very least, that the Restoration under Jewel has learned from some of these mistakes. Security got beefed up after the Deadly Six break-in, and the new iteration of the Diamond Cutters was formed to deal with new threats as they're detected. However, that doesn't really mean that it should have taken the events mentioned before to get to this point. It makes me sad to say because I genuinely like Jewel and I think she's really relatable, but if the Restoration is this prone to making these mistakes, maybe it's time for a new leader. So the question remains, who's done the worst job in my opinion? Let's break it down. Amy was able to do the job efficiently with only one glaring mistake. However, the stress of keeping everything together would have made her crumble had she kept on much longer. Overall pretty good, but not long for the job. My grade? A provisional B. Jewel's able to manage her responsibilities without fear of it reaching a breaking point, but for all the good she's done, there's just about an equal amount of mistakes that have bitten her and the Restoration in the ass. Even if they've shown to be able to learn from them, it really shouldn't be as frequent as it is. My grade? C. While Knuckles is able to lead a group headfirst into battle and kick ass in his own right, he's a small team leader, not the guy you want in charge of the entire operation. Sure, he did some good in the war to take back the planet, which needs a better name, and against Neo Metal Sonic, but the bad? Dear lord. Diverting responsibilities is one thing, but 80% goddamn of the Resistance Army died for nothing on his watch. It was a bad idea, he came up with that plan in a minute and a half, he should have been mutinied as soon as the words left his mouth. My grade, a big fat F. In that case, who do I think would be the best choice for a new leader if Jewel were to resign or take a step back? I have two candidates in mind. Tails is used to taking up a command center role and can fight on his own if need be. His intellect would prove very useful when it comes to drawing up battle plans, and he'd also be a great help to developing machines and weapons. Though his confidence troubles would hurt his chances, and I can see where he might have to pass the job on to someone after a short time like Amy did. Then we have Whisper. In the original Diamond Cutter, she was a master at reconnaissance, and she's also good at making plans, as we see when she was fighting on her own. That being said, we've also seen that if left to her own devices, her punishments could potentially be severe given her past and social isolation since then, so she would need someone like Tangle to be there to make sure she doesn't get too harsh. To that end, I think if we had a co-leader situation with Whisper and Tails at the helm, that'd be a winning combo. They'd both be able to strategize and fight. Whisper would be able to keep Tails focused and calm, and then Tails would be able to ensure Whisper doesn't go overboard while dealing with the bad guys. Maybe have Tangle in a sort of advisory role specifically for that. Though for the love of God, don't trust her with critical functions. In my opinion, with these two calling the shots together, the restoration would be in very good hands. Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know what you thought about the video in the comments. Give it a like if you liked it, or a dislike if you didn't. If you'd like to click the bell for notifications. It's free and you can opt out anytime. Here's a playlist with similar content, and my Twitter. I have been skull902, thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Alright, there we go. I see Miracle made an appearance in the VC, just popping in and saying hi as the video was running. I can't believe you, Miracle. This is.
I didn't realize till I'd already said hi, and I was like, "Wait, what is this?" I was like, "Oh no, I interrupted." Hi.
Hello. How you been today?
I've been good. Been a nice chill day, and yeah, I think I agree with like your rankings of them as the leaders there. I think you're right on that.
Well,
And I would love to see a Tails and Whisper like coalition. That would be pretty fucking cool, actually.
yeah, I got like, you know, I got ideas. I don't know if they're the best ones or whatever, but yeah, you know. But thank you for liking the suggestions and all that. Goodness gracious.
Oh my god! Holy shit! I've just seen a Sonic and Tails comic on Facebook.
What haven't you seen on Facebook?
So Sonic's pointing at a plate of chili dogs, and content warning for this joke because holy shit, it's dark. But Sonic's like, call the vet because he's pointing at the chili dogs to clarify, and he's saying, call me the vet because I'm about to put these dogs down. And Tails is like, can we go one day without you saying weird shit all the time?
Well.
Jesus Christ.
Well, in any case.
Sonic, no.
Sonic, no indeed.
Sonic, no!
In any case, next up is my review of the Knuckles series from earlier this year. No real special comment to make or anything like that. It's just a review of Knuckles. So let's jump into that one right now as soon as I can find it. There it is. Hey everyone, skull902 here. Following the success of the first live-action Sonic film and during development of the second, Paramount decided to expand the series into other areas, announcing in February 2022 that Knuckles would be getting a mini-series on its Paramount Plus streaming service the next year, with Idris Elba reprising the title role. News about it screeched to an utter stop and the series was delayed by a year, with a trailer and promotionals starting to ramp up in early 2024. The series was said to be about Knuckles guiding Wade Whipple to becoming stronger as a person while being hunted down by gun agents and a welder. Seems simple and straightforward enough. I liked both movies and Wade was one of my favorite characters in them. A team-up with Knuckles sounds like a fun idea. Does it do the job? Let's dive in. The story is a tale of two halves. In the first 3 episodes, I think we get a solid setup with good comedy and action. Wade learns from Knuckles, but Knuckles learns from Wade as well. I love that aspect, and the two bounce off of each other really well. The 4th episode is a fun, trippy ride, and then the last 2 are where things take a dip. Not enough to kill it in my opinion, but I was seeing a lot that could be better. For instance, there's this plot hole where Wade has a $100,000 bounty put on him at the end of the 2nd episode, which is completely forgotten about after the 4th. Wade enters the very public live broadcast bowling tournament and no cops or anything show up to arrest him. The villains and Knuckles himself are largely absent as well. The villains don't show up in the middle 2 episodes at all and are only in 4 scenes of the finale. Extra time could have been invested in giving them some more character. Like, the only reason why I remember the buyer's name is because I put it in the notes for this review. That's how forgettable they are. When it comes to Knuckles, his spotty appearances are more balanced in that regard, so at least it feels like you're getting more of him, but it comes at the detriment of both him and the villain since they're given such little time. Knuckles dispatches the gun agents after maybe a minute and a half of fight, and then later comes off looking fairly weak when fighting the buyer, which happens only within the last 10 minutes of the finale and even then is broken up with scenes of Wade's situation. Being drained of energy with hardly any back and forth beforehand from a machine that doesn't really compare with what he dealt with from Robotnik in the second movie. Wade's story of coming into his own is genuinely enjoyable, but it did lose its sense of Wade and Knuckles learn from each other in the back half due to the lack of balance, which is a shame. Other characters like Jack Sinclair, Susie and her parents, and Wade's family I thought were solid additions, with the exception of Wanda. She's just there to be annoying, and the story would have been exactly the same without her, but at least they did some funny jokes with her, so it's whatever. Wendy Whipple in particular was an absolute treasure, and her blossoming friendship with Knuckles was my favorite thing about the show, no joke. There was a lot of discourse caused by this show about how much humans belong in the Sonic franchise, and I think it's actually fairly similar to reactions to the human characters and plotlines in the Japanese Godzilla movies. For me, I think they were intended to be there in some form since the franchise's beginnings and can absolutely fit in there perfectly. Shout out to Unleashed and pretty much the entire human cast of X except for Chris. Whether or not it works really depends on the application. Sometimes it's like plenty of the Showa-era Godzilla films where you couldn't give any less of a shit, and then sometimes it's really good and fun like against Mechagodzilla or Final Wars. For me, this series specifically falls somewhere in the middle with that, with the movie universe as a whole being pretty solid in that regard. The other new character, Pachacamac, was a pleasant surprise and I think he was applied pretty well, though again I wish there had been more with him and Knuckles together. Still an interesting way to get some more of Knuckles' story out there to viewers. The actors did very well, with Adam Pally keeping up his lovable performance as Wade, and Idris Elba, I think, really growing with Knuckles' voice. The inconsistencies with his accent from the second movie I noticed were gone, which gives me the impression he's really comfortable in the role and it shows. Gotta give props to Christopher Lloyd as Pachacamac as well. You can certainly tell the man's age, but also that he has the heart for acting and puts in a great effort. Also worth mentioning is Stockard Channing. Wendy wouldn't have come off so well without a fantastic job on her part. The other actors all played their roles well. There wasn't really anyone I felt was out of place. The score was also nice with some real bangers in terms of the licensed music. Originals like Frickin' Human Race and The Flames of Disaster lived up to that as well. Visually, it was mostly a bang-up job. The CGI is basically on par with the movies, and I absolutely love the credit sequence. The only time it really fell flat was the CG green screen mix for the buyer's mech. It looked comparatively cheap. As a whole, Knuckles is an enjoyable series that mostly does a good job at what it is, but fell short at what it was supposed to be, with some problems in the plot and structure that, if corrected, probably would have made it better as a TV movie instead. The marketing really gave this impression that the Echidna was going to be the main player here, and his lack of screen time comes off as deceptive because of it. A streaming service lying about something? Why, I for one am shocked. Next thing you'll be telling me that they're slowly just becoming cable, or mass deleting shows they own the rights to for no reason and then slapping people in the face by raising prices afterward, or giving you crunchy 720p when you paid for the 4K plan. It's almost as if these services aren't worth the money they try to suck out of you. But that's a video for another time. It would have been better to call it Knuckles and Wade or something so that at least they're being forthright about it. That aside, if you go into the series knowing what to expect, it is a fun experience. It's also got some extra lore for the movieverse mixed in with some really creative references too. Like the Flames of Disaster? I didn't see that one coming. If you're a fan of the first two movies, I'd give Knuckles a recommendation. Just know what you're getting into. Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know what you thought about the video and similar content, and my Twitter. I have been skull902, thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day. One thing I also love is that it gave us this beautiful costume. And a fucking WWE crossover. I mean, come on, that's great. It really is. That costume and his pensive expression. I don't know if pensive is the right word, but whatever. He just looks like he's seen some things and is trying to hold it in, you know. But yeah, that's the Knuckles review. Again, no special comments about it or anything, but I figured that it belonged in here, so yeah. I keep forgetting that Miracle's here, so I gotta unmute in 2 different places. But there we are. That was the Knuckles review. Moving on is the last game of my youth, which, my 30th birthday was coming up, and I had some goals that I wanted to attain before I turned 30. So uh, the the idea to play and beat a video game, play and beat a few video games actually, was on my mind in the months leading up to it. I hadn't quite accomplished like beating a 3rd game, and like Kirby's Dream Land was just sitting there. I still hadn't beaten the game, so I gave it a shot. Um, Robert Welcome In says pensive is close enough to Penders, and when it comes to Knuckles, that's all that matters. Yeah, he looks like he's seen some Penders. Uh, so yeah, but like Kirby's Dream Land was on my my fucking uh, bucket list for some time, and uh, I wanted to give it a shot. So this coming up here is the last game of my youth. Enjoy. Everyone, skull902 here. Tomorrow I'll be turning 30 years old. Not exactly middle-aged yet, but getting close. It's generally accepted that 30 is where you're no longer young. It's something I've been thinking about for some time, and one of the things I wanted to do before reaching that milestone was beat 3 more games, as I mentioned to Lost Leader during my second Mega Man 11 stream at the end of last year. 2 of those were Sonic Lost World and the All-Stars version of Super Mario Bros. 2, which I eventually did. The 3rd game could have been anything. It was meant to be Scott Pilgrim vs. the World yesterday, but plans didn't work out. Wanting to fulfill my goal, I turned to a small bucket list item I hadn't attempted in years, Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy. I tried once 9 years ago, but that resulted in failure as I just can't play anything other than classic Sonic on a keyboard apparently. But knowing the game has a rep for being short and easy, I figured I could do it. Earlier this morning, I watched a walkthrough to get myself familiar because I still suck at video games, fired it up, and went to work. It wasn't too hard to get to King DDD's lair, just a couple deaths along the way and I knew where to get some 1-ups. Special thanks to Retro Archive. Link to their walkthrough is in the description. After the boss rush, it was time to face the man himself. I was going in with decent health, and I knew his attack pattern. All I had to do was go in and give it my best. Close shave, but I beat him first try. I'm glad I thought to record this too. I don't have footage or screenshots of my first game beaten or plenty of the ones thereafter, only keeping a record of those early ones in a text document on my Windows XP computer, which is yet to be retrieved. I've since made a second document, taken screenshots of the end screens to mark the occasion, and even streamed some of them. To have this one on record, a real nail-biter on top of the milestone significance, means a lot to me. It's the 39th new game I've beaten since starting my second document, as well as the 7th and last beaten at the age of 29. So, I'd just like to thank the people behind this game and the spherical pink protagonist of it. It was a fun experience. While the clock is turning to my next decade, I can have these memories to fall back on, not only to reminisce, but to be excited for making more of them in my 30s as well. A perfect way to end this chapter and turn over to the next. Thanks for watching. Feel free. Here's a playlist with similar content and my Twitter. I have been skull902. Thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day.
Bubby.
Yeah, buddy. So a short one, but a nice little sentimental one to send off my 20s as I prepared to enter my 30s, and all that. Wanted to beat a game, and I found that Kirby's Dream Land was a good choice. It's a nice, enjoyable game. Did a Let's Play of it later in the year, which I almost considered showing actually because it was so short, but nah. So Yeah, it's just a nice little short, sweet one. Uh, Miracle, I've noticed that you've unmuted. Do you, uh, would you like to
I
say
wasn't sure if
something?
I was going to say anything or not. I have nothing to add.
Oh,
I
okay.
was just waiting for you to finish to see if I had anything new to add, but no, cool stuff.
Gotcha. Thank you. Alrighty. Our next one here, and okie doke, Spidey. Our next one here, I'm not going to show the whole series because it would take far too long. But my Sprite series, Sonic and Mario, is celebrating its
Of
15th
course.
anniversary this year. So I wanted to do something
Oh
special for that
no.
because
We're
15.
old.
Yeah, we really are. Uh,
Holy shit.
you've still
I
got
feel like the
you still got some young in you though. So
I feel like the tweet I did for the 12th anniversary was like last week. What the fuck?
bro, I feel like the premiere of the show was like 5 years ago. Uh, it's something. But yeah. So 15 years of Sonic and Mario. I wanted to do something fun, and I was inspired, as I say in the video, by Monster Island buddies doing a show called Monster Island Secrets, uh, where he essentially, talked about like some trivia and behind the scenes information about each episode individually of Monster Island buddies. So I basically did that for Sonic and Mario here with Sonic and Mario tidbits. I'm gonna show the season 1 video here to demonstrate that and whatnot. Hopefully, it's a nice fun time. So yeah. Without any further delay,
Yay.
here is Season 1 tidbits of Sonic and Mario. Hey everyone, skull902 here. 15 years ago today, my old Sprite series Sonic and Mario debuted after nearly 2 years of development and 10 months after its initial announcement. To celebrate, I'm going to be making this 6-part series giving some observations and trivia on each episode and season, with another one for the specials and extra stuff. And of course, there will be a lot of regret expressed during the earlier episodes. Credit where it's due. This format was inspired by Monster Island Buddy's Monster Island Secrets videos. If you like Godzilla and all, you should check out his channel. With that said, let's look at Season 1, released in 2009. Right off the bat, I want to apologize for all the loud episodes early on. I don't know if it was just that I liked blaring the volume in my ears or like my headphone settings. I do seem to remember it not being as loud like in my ears when I would play them back. But the episodes, especially in like seasons 1 and 2, really fucking loud, and I am terribly sorry for that. So with the look of the episodes, you can tell the colors are a little off, and that's because I made this episode in the Windows Vista Movie Maker on my grandma's computer. Since I didn't have my normal Windows XP computer at the time, I had to go over to my grandma's house, make all the frames with my brother, and then edit the video there. And Windows Vista Movie Maker screws with the colors in a really interesting way. I know I showed a comparison in the Season 5 behind the scenes video, but it is a little strange. I did remake this episode about a year and a half after it came out, and one thing, aside from the correct colors that I want to point out is I actually, like, for how weird Windows Vista Movie Maker was, the music video portion, like when Sonic's, messing around on his surfboard or whatever, that one I really actually like on the original version a lot better. Say what you will about the color differences and whatnot, but Vista Movie Maker had like way more visual effects, which I think helped that sequence, and it just wasn't quite as good in the remake version.
Leave us alone.
Dear God, my original Knuckles voice was bad. I've never been a fan of voicing the character myself. I never have been like a fan of how I portray him. But I'll say this, I got better later on. My God.
No thanks.
I want to come.
Nope.
I'm not the only VA in the series, of course. In this episode, we have the debuts of KN as Rouge the Bat, Star Woodpatch as Amy Rose and Princess Peach, and Hamsar Runner 1 as Tails. So the way that I found the voice actors, KN and Star Woodpatch were auditions. KN in particular sent me like her Rouge voice as like the legit audition, and then Eggman and Knuckles as kind of like shitpost backup auditions. They were from her old, like her very first Sonic voice demo, and I was like, this Rouge is perfect. I don't need to look for anyone else. Star Woodpatch was one of, I think, a few to audition for Amy, and I liked her well enough and had her come in. Hamsar Runner 1, I got into contact with through another friend. Hamsar was like a very popular pick to voice Tails back in the day. Like, he was an actual kid. Of course, not the kind of casting I would do now. He did this and like an unreleased Sonic and Mario like preview video, and then after that I just lost contact with him. I don't know if he fell off the face of the earth or just quit voice acting. I'm not entirely sure, but those are the 3 voice actors, aside from me, introduced into the series in episode 1. The backgrounds are constantly shifting here. I didn't know how to properly do my frames for this in episode 2, and it feels so awkward to look at, because it really did just involve hitting the undo button, and I know that doing that was limited with Vista and XP's version of Paint, but I had a lot better of a way of making sure the background was consistent. So like, I look at this and I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? This episode has a credit sequence, as does the second. Back then, I was just doing this on like every one of my videos, and I think after the second one, Can wrote in the comments that like it just kind of added time to the episode that wasn't necessary, stuff that I could just put in the description. So I was like, you know what, you're right, and then they started going exclusively in the description after that. So a little remnant from my older sprite videos in this little part here. Here's a little piece of trivia that I've divulged on the channel before. I was editing this video as the news that Michael Jackson passed away was going on. So it was June 25th, 2009. I had everything all ready. I was putting the video together, and I heard on the news through like my grandma was watching it in the living room. I was in like the back bedroom editing. At first, it was just that something happened, and then I took a break from editing, to see more until it was announced that he was dead. And that was a weird feeling. Kinda surreal to be getting this news as I was editing this video about a silly video game crossover, but that's how things turned out. I uploaded this episode during a family get-together. We had a little cookout as we were preparing to watch some fireworks. And it was interesting because, like, I was amongst family members, but I kind of felt a little lonely sitting there at the computer trying to make sure that this episode was up and everything was right with it and everything. So a bit isolated, despite being among many people as I uploaded this one. It only really happens in this episode from what I can recall, but you get these microphone pops when I, cut the lines as Mario and Luigi. It's the most prominent during Mario and Luigi's backstory. That was caused by Movie Maker. I know it's happened to some other creators before, back in the old days when everyone was using Movie Maker, but just really weird and kind of hard on the ears. I'm sorry for that.
That's preposterous. Bat nipples and bat asses. Makes me sick.
Oh god, my Knuckles voice. It's even worse in this episode than in the first. I don't know what was with me at the time, that I was doing it kind of like nasal, and that's not really the kind of quality that you would imagine Knuckles' voice being. I have no idea what was up with me during that session.
You know who else has bat nipples and a bat ass?
Whoa! My voice sounds different. Must have been that medicine I smuggled. Whee!
We got a couple of running gags established here in this scene. The first one is that Rouge hits on people. Very original. Of course, I would grow to regret this gag because it just kind of bottlenecks Rouge into a very one-note personality, and I grew to regret it, of course, but this is where that started. Everyone was doing it at the time. I thought, oh, gee, it would be funny if I did that too, huh? And it really wasn't. And then the cough medicine running gag. It's just called medicine here, so we don't know what kind of medicine it is yet, but that's just to explain how KN was now the understudy voice of Tails, taking over as I was trying to get back into contact with Hamstar Runner.
Hey guys!
Yay! Sonic's back!
Damn it, why do you always have to ruin everything?
Sonic's friends really fucking hate him for some reason, and it perplexes me. I don't know why I wrote them like this, that like Sonic was just kind of an annoyance. You know, maybe like there'll be some explanation someday, but I cannot fathom for now like why they were acting to him like this. Just poor Sonic, man, poor Sonic.
Why must stuff like this happen every 5 freaking days?
So that joke references a little in-joke that my little brother and I had about the Sonic games when we were getting into it. You know, there were so many of them at the time. We kind of figured that, like, it must be that each game takes place like 5 or so days after the last one because, again, you know, they were just so frequent. So that's just like a little joke that my brother and I had about the Sonic series at the time.
Gah! Sonic's always ruining my plans. I hate him!
Episode 3, this is where the villains debut, and for Eggman specifically, a new voice actor. Boyle Voices is the voice of Eggman in the early episodes of Sonic and Mario. And the way that I found Kyle Boyle here is he was the voice of Eggman in the Sonic Song 182 series. So he did an audition. I just heard him and I was like, wow, this is a really good Eggman. So I asked, and he was all right with it, and that's how that turned about.
Now that we're partners, what shall we do next?
Kyle had only sent me lines for the first scene, so I had to fill in for the second and third, and my Robotnik voice at the time was a voice, very yelly, nothing that I would be able to do today, and it was not great. It's kind of funny because I did that, and then I put the episode together, uploaded it on YouTube, and then like a couple hours later, got the email from Kyle with the lines from the other two scenes. So that's the basis for the version that I uploaded later, which I will get to in a moment.
I don't know. Do you minuscule fools have pizza?
Of course, this is the start of the running joke about Bowser and his pizza. Poor guy was not able to get his pizza for some time, and you know, that's really just based on the fact that pizza is my favorite food, and I just wanted to incorporate it in the show somehow, so there you go.
Now that our armies are unified, I can finally stop using this piece of metallic trash.
Hey!
Shut up, you, and don't use that, well, I almost took over the world excuse. That's my shtick.
Now, introducing my brand new robots that will destroy our enemies. Scratch and Grounder!
Metal Sonic, Scratch, and Grounder were meant to feature more in the series as recurring characters, but I kind of forgot about them as I was writing more of Season 1 and like rewriting, especially when I had to cut things down due to my scheduling at the time and whatnot. Metal Sonic would come back in fairly short order. Scratch and Grounder, it would have to take a while for that to be a thing, but yeah, they were supposed to be a part of like the villain entourage for the series, and like I remember a Thanksgiving episode, for instance, where Scratch like turned into a giant Scratch. You know, he was a big old turkey. So just something that was left on the cutting room floor, and it was all because I'm forgetful.
Did you know that apparently YouTube accounts come with essential vitamins and minerals?
The narrator's joke here is a reference to Little Karibo uploading a video about Team 4-Star. They made a new channel after their original got suspended. That channel doesn't exist anymore. Since the original is back, I guess they figured that they don't need it, but that's where that came about. So a little reference to some abridged series creators.
Now that we're partners, what shall we do next?
Then, of course, we have the remake of Episode 3, which came out in early 2010. We got Kyle Boyle back as Eggman for the final two scenes, as God intended. And Scratch, you may notice that he doesn't call Grounder a bitch. And that's just because, like, thinking back on it, like, Scratch and Grounder are just so silly that it didn't really feel right for Scratch to be swearing. So that's why I just cut that bit out.
Sonic, We've been searching for the longest of time, but still nothing!
Well, if some people didn't delay their work by 1 billion years, we would probably have them by now.
Alright, 4 episodes in and we're already getting a schedule slip joke. So, my original intention was for Sonic and Mario to be weekly, which was quite an ambitious desire, especially for, a bit of an impatient teenager. I didn't really have the resources to do such a thing. Even now, I don't. So, good on 15-year-old me to have goals, I guess, but they just weren't attainable, and, I had to compress the season and a bit of the second as well due to it, and it was just, I don't know what I was thinking.
I'm gonna get that bastard back no matter how much it takes. For Bobby!
Poor Bobby.
So, Mike the Burrowbot gets introduced and, dedicates his upcoming effort to his fallen pal Bobby. And this was supposed to be the setup for a brick joke that would happen in the next episode, but it would not get resolved for years. So, sorry to Mike there, but yeah. Again, just revolves around my weird scheduling that I had at the time.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast who?
Dreamcast.
Would you just stop already?
Fine, Mimi.
So there's a couple Dreamcast references in this episode, and it's really only for the fact that I kind of had like a bit of a fascination with the console at the time. I had just recently got mine, and even to this day, I still think that like some of the things that Sega did with it were cool, but I was probably actually like really annoying about it back then. So to anyone who had heard me talk about the system at the time, I am terribly sorry, but it slipped its way into this episode.
So, what are the things that you like?
Fun, flowers, Mario, glass.
What was that last one?
Sugar.
I can't remember if Peach being violent was meant to be like a running gag, or if it was just a one-off joke. It's a bit of an unusual one coming from her, but I guess that was kind of the point, right? That, the sweet little princess was actually, a bit of a psycho, but it never went anywhere, so, yeah.
Can our heroes collect all 7 of the Chaos Emeralds, or will Robotnik finally get his way?
The narrator's voice is starting to become what it was for the rest of the series here. You can definitely tell a bit of a change, whereas he sounded a bit calm, in the first 3 episodes. Now he's kind of, losing his British accent a bit and becoming a little more rough in the voice. I really don't know what prompted that, to be honest. It's just kind of how I started voicing him, and it really did just evolve into a completely different voice from where the series started.
Find out this and more when I'm ready.
Say the damn line right.
Fine! On the next episode of Sonic and Mario. You happy?
Another start to another running gag, Rouge and I having beef, so I inserted myself into the series as the director, and I don't know what, prompted this one, because I've always liked Rouge as a character. I guess I just had to pick one. Maybe it was KN's acting ability, I'm not sure, but there you go. Another random-ass running gag, just me trying to be silly, I guess. So before I say anything about Episode 5, I have to address this elephant in the room. Dr. Eggman makes a homophobic comment towards Sonic, and Sonic reacts angrily to it and beats him up. Now, you could look at this in the light that, the good guy is reasonably upset with hearing something so awful, but I regret putting this in, and a similar bit in episode 29, where Tails talks about quote-unquote gender confusion, and again, you can see it in the way that Sonic and Mario and Luigi tell him about how ridiculous his way of thinking is. And KN does as well, but there's an improvised part on the end of that shows just how much we didn't know back then. So, again, I regret putting these in, and I'm really sorry about this. And you can look at it again in the way that the heroes are delivering the right message. However, I don't feel like it was necessary to put that stuff in there in the first place. The me of today would not write such a thing unless if the story was specifically about how those mindsets are bad. So that's why I regret it. It just wasn't necessary, and again, my apologies.
Hello everybody, I am the almighty and powerful director. We at SAA ran out of the animation budget for this episode to make a fight scene, even though there wasn't really an animation budget or any serious choreography for a fight scene. Hell, the animation didn't even start.
Moving on, we have the beginning of a new running gag, the fight subversions. This happened because this and every subsequent fight was supposed to be animated by my little brother, and that delayed this episode for some time. And, I had my weird scheduling thing going on. I wanted the first and second seasons to be premiered by the end of 2009, so I was kind of just like in a panic trying to get like these episodes out because the year was about to end, and I thought that like this would be funny. So it persisted in the series as like splash screens for most of them, and then like rants by me in the season finales, and that's kind of how that gag got started. It was made with the intention, though, that the series finale would in fact have a fight scene, and so it was just something to build up toward when we got like the actual fight. Speaking of my weird scheduling, I actually meshed together 2 episodes into one for this one, and honestly I think it works out to this episode's favor, because like episode 6 was supposed to be just the fight, and I feel like that wouldn't have worked. Like, it would have filled out the time, but there wasn't a whole lot of episode afterward. So I feel like I did the right thing here by having like the opening and the fight together, as well as, of course, the aftermath to the fight. So that, I think, is a saving grace of this episode.
Hey, I got a joke for you. Why couldn't your little brother animate the fight scene? Because your little sister hogged the computer. Ah ha ha ha. Oh, that was funny.
My sincerest apologies to my little sister for this joke. I really shouldn't have thrown her under the bus like this. It was petty and dumb, and I regret it.
Sonic?
Yeah?
You son of a Goomba! You lost our emeralds!
Mario calls Sonic a son of a Goomba here. That is a reference to Stupid Mario Brothers, the first of many that I would make throughout this. Stupid Mario was one of my inspirations as I was making this show, and I had become a fan of the show as I was developing Sonic and Mario, trying to get the first episode out and everything, and it really did just kind of shape my humor around then.
Hey! Get back here! I'm gonna have a plunger shoved up your ass when I'm done with you, hedgehog!
What a terribly violent threat that Mario makes towards Sonic here. Luigi says that it's like a trait of his when something goes wrong, that Mario gets like really violent and angry, but it never really became much a thing in the show. Like, it's just this episode, maybe one other, but it's not like that often used, so it just kind of became like a dead running gag like right at the start. Again, it was supposed to be more often, but I just forgot about it, I guess. How cringe. I was 14 to 15 years old as I was making this, and goddamn, you can really tell. While this show obviously had a lot of problems that needed fixing, the premise, story structure, and many of the gags had been established. Next time is Season 2, the Jason Sonic storyline. I'll see you all there next time on Sonic and Mario Tidbits. How cringe. So yeah, there we go. Sonic and Mario Tidbits Season 1.
How cringe.
How cringe. So, yeah, all the trivia and whatnot of those first 5 episodes, the first season, and whatnot. Dear God, man, I mean, we have all got to start somewhere, I guess.
Yeah. You got better over time, that's what counts.
Well, well, thank you. So next up on the list is the best ending in Sonic. Simple premise here. I love the ending of Sonic Adventure 2. I've wanted to make a video about it for some time, and finally, mustered up the remembrance to actually go ahead and make it. So that's what we've got going on here. It's like my favorite. I think no game in the series has ended better than Adventure 2, and I'm gonna explain why in this next video. Miracle, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Alrighty, let's get into it. The best ending in Sonic.
Truth.
Hey everyone, skull902 here. The Sonic franchise has a load of satisfactory endings to its games. Titles like 3 and Knuckles, Unleashed, and Frontiers come to mind. But, while those come close, I think one stands above the rest. The plot leading up to it, the characterization and overall presentation make this game's ending the best in the Sonic franchise. That game is Sonic Adventure 2. Why might that be? Here's my take. As Sonic and Shadow get the upper hand on the final hazard, they perform chaos control to get rid of the Bio-Lizard and transport the Space Colony Ark back into orbit. The rather fugly early CGI people around the world celebrate as the planet's been saved from destruction, but unbeknownst to them, Shadow has fallen toward the Earth. This affects the mood aboard the space station as Sonic silently reveals that, for all he knows, Shadow didn't make it out alive. And what follows, I think, makes this not just one of the best scenes in the Sonic franchise, but the best ending to any piece of media within it. Everyone is settling down from the life-threatening journey they were just on. After all the fighting, calls for vengeance, and tense situations, everyone in that room has a chance to reflect on what happened, and we don't get to see something like this in the franchise a whole lot, which I think makes it interesting. It's a great show of everyone's characters, too. Maybe except for Tails, whose response to Eggman is optimistic, but a bit on the generic side. Might just be the English version, though. Thankfully, I have a friend who speaks Japanese. Oh, Yancy, could you please tell me what Tails says in the Japanese version?
Oh, sure, he says, Sane Tareke.
Translated to English, please.
Who knows, but what I can say is this. We did it.
So, basically the same thing.
Yes, but with slight differences in the line delivery.
Oh. But let's take a bit of a deeper look into the interactions on display here. Sonic gives Rouge one of Shadow's inhibitor rings, after which she asks if he was really just meant to be an instrument of destruction, which I think serves to show the softer side of hers we see after her fight with Knuckles. She's not just some dismissive, self-absorbed, jewel-obsessed thief. She actually does care about people deep down. Sonic, of course, has respect and recognizes people for their good deeds, emphasizing and crediting Shadow for helping save the world. He made the right decision after realizing what Maria really wanted, and should be remembered for that. Eggman's pondering over Gerald's intentions, I believe, is a good example of out-of-character behavior, expressing shock that this man he'd looked up to tried destroying the planet, as opposed to conquering it like the Doctor had attempted so many times. Tails, generic line aside, again tries to lift Eggman's spirits by injecting some positivity into the situation, which Eggman's willing to accept. Knuckles and Rouge have a bit of a conversation where he asks what she'll be up to next, trying to be nice as he did after their fight. Rouge responds by saying she may give up her work and that she's got something more important on the mind. Obviously she'd end up staying a spy, but I like that she's still thinking about that interaction they had too. In the moment, her lust is turned from gems to a certain red echidna, who of course, in typical Knuckles fashion, doesn't get the hint. Oh, that big old goof. Sonic, meanwhile, is left somberly thinking about Shadow's creation to himself. Amy's ability to perceive the feelings of others and her natural caring side drives her to try and help, asking him what's wrong. The blue blur dismisses the notion in an upbeat way, suggesting they go back home with his typical positive, energetic demeanor. I think this really says a lot about these two. Amy's demonstrating her sweet personality while Sonic's allowing himself a moment to feel a bit melancholic, but also seeing the need to show positive emotional strength to his friends so they can feel at ease after all they'd been through. A great demonstration that Sonic can feel negative emotions such as sadness and still be in character. At the door, he brings down that energy to bid Shadow a fond farewell, as the shot goes to the Ark slowly orbiting behind the Earth before it fades to black. What I love about this ending is, again, we don't often see reflection like this in Sonic. I've often said it before, but in this scene, there are no heroes, there are no villains. They're all people, relating to one another and trying to make some sense of what they'd just gone through. Everything from the scripting to that majestic piano piece, even some of the cinematography and those old school graphics make this, in my personal opinion, the best ending the Sonic franchise has ever had. Some like Unleashed, Black Knight, and Frontiers come close, but this right here takes the cake. What endings do you think are the best? Let me know in the comments. This one fills me with a hopeful feeling I can't really describe. It's downright beautiful, and will have a special place with me as long as I live. Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know what you thought about it. Thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Not knocking this part, but it really could have used a comma, just saying. Oh. And there we go. Best ending. Yeah, I know, right? Oh. Fucking. I loved that. Also, I thought your postulating there in the chat was an interesting take on Tails and Eggman's conversation.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I would have written what he said a little differently if it were me, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I kind of find it, like, don't get me wrong, I get why people were annoyed by it, but I kind of actually, at the same time, don't know what I would have changed exactly, because I think what he said was kind of, like, perfect in a way, because, yeah, he is this, like, hyper-intelligent child, but he is still a child, and he hasn't, like, gone through life and, like, gotten old and jaded like Eggman has. So he hasn't really come to, like, fully, like, understand the weight of, like, what the Eggman's questions mean yet. He hasn't, like, had to really think that deep. And and I don't know. It's hard to, like, exactly pin it down, but my personal take on it is that just, like, I mean, what else is Tails, like, how is Tails exactly supposed to comfort him at the end of the day? Like, he is still a child, and I just like the innocence and simplicity of what he says. He doesn't fully grasp, like, the weight of, like, weight and existentialism of life yet. So at the end of the day, he's not looking at Eggman like the villain he always has been. He's just, like you said, there's, like, no villains or heroes in that room. They're just people connecting, and Tails is looking at Eggman with, like, no animosity. He, like, sees he's, like, sad and pondering, and he's just like, well, I'll just say what I can and cheer him up. And it's nice that, like, you can see it kind of works, actually. Like, even as someone as despotic as Eggman, like, can't be mad at Tails saying something like that, because it's just too sweet at the same time, I think.
I
And
think
so he just kind of, like, doesn't go on to, like, overthink it or lament or brood about it. He just kind of, like, seems to appreciate the, like, simplicity and innocence of what he says, and it's just like, yeah, you're right. Like, as in, like, I shouldn't worry too much about it. Like, we're all lucky to be alive at the end of the day. That's how I kind of interpret it. So I kind of really like that, the, like, sentiment behind that. Like, Tails doesn't have to be, like, super wise and sagely all the time. He can just be a kid, just, like, cheering an old evil guy up, because, well, why not? And I don't know, I really like that, but I do agree with everything. Like, the interactions with everyone is just absolutely perfect. I absolutely love the writing and everything in that scene. It's just so humble and beautiful, and the music's perfect. It's my favorite piece of Sonic music to this day, and it's just nice seeing all the characters, like, come to terms with everything, and just get to, like, sit back and reminisce over, like, the adventure they've had, and, like, reflect over, like, the presumed loss of their friend. And they just have to, like, kind of move on with life. And I totally agree with everything you said. It is the perfect ending to a Sonic game.
it
And it's
really
just,
is.
it's fucking beautiful, man.
Really is.
I cry every time.
I cry
Me.
every time. It's just, I don't know, man. There's something about it. They hit all the right notes in such a way that, like, there are comparable endings, but none of them have quite reached that point.
Oh
IMO.
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Also, KJ, welcome in. Happy New Year to you too.
Happy
Next
New
up,
Year.
everyone, is the Soul Dimension, how Sega abandoned it. This is another video that had been on the docket for some time. especially after getting into IDW, I wanted to do a video about Blaze and the Soul Dimension and whatnot. And again, especially after reading more of IDW and seeing like how they were like, oh yeah, Soul Dimension, no, it's free now, nothing wrong with it anymore. I was like, okay, I have to do something with this because I feel Blaze deserves more. Uh,
Yes.
so that's what we're going to be getting into here. The Soul Dimension, how Sega abandoned it. Coming up right now.
Boop.
Skull902 in post here because I forgot to record this originally. If you'd like a chance to win a physical copy of Sonic X Shadow Generations for your console of choice, stay tuned to this video. Hey everyone, Skull902 here. Blaze the Cat, introduced in Sonic Rush, is one of my favorite Sonic characters. Her fire powers, along with her sense of responsibility and independence, have made her one of the more well-received members of the cast. After a confusing period where it was unclear whether her backstory from Rush or 06 was canon, it was firmly established in Generations that she comes from the Soul Dimension, ruling over her world as its princess. Despite this being the case, recent works and comments from the powers that be with the franchise suggest they'd rather be done with the place. Why might that be? Let's break it down. In Sonic Rush, we don't really see the Soul Dimension since the story takes place in Sonic's, but we get some establishment. It's Blaze's universe, she's the princess and hero of her world, the Soul Emeralds come from there, and the nefarious Eggman Nega is her arch-nemesis. The Soul Emeralds aren't exactly one-to-one with the Chaos Emeralds, but they also grant Blaze her Burning transformation which, along with Supersonic, she uses to take out both Eggmen and prevent the worlds from colliding and destroying each other. Overall, it's something to build off of, and they proceeded to do so in the game's sequel. Sonic Rush Adventure, released in 2007, takes place in the Soul Dimension instead, with Sonic and Tails transported there, helping Blaze stop the Eggmen from stealing the power of the Jeweled Scepter. Here we're introduced to various islands in Blaze's world, the koalas that make up most of its residents, and the ever-annoying Marine the raccoon. Considering the koalas and Marine speaking in Australian slang, imagine the Soul Dimension as Australia if it were a planet. No word yet on if the wildlife can poison you if you look at them wrong though. Also established is the Jeweled Scepter, which can not only control weather patterns and geological activity, but also sustain the coexistence of the multiverse. Very powerful item. What we get with those details, in my opinion, is the foundation of a world that could be the setting for even more stories and build on with additional lore. I'll get back to that point in a second, but first I gotta discuss how confused they made the whole thing with Blaze. In Sonic 06, Blaze is presented as being from the future with no mention of her lineage as a princess or the Soul Dimension at all. This was a byproduct of the console and handheld platformers being treated separately at the time. Didn't stop them from implying a previous meeting between Sonic and Blaze, making the whole situation even weirder and stumping everyone as to what her backstory actually was. I've made a video on the subject before and the answer was codified in Sonic Generations, which explicitly uses her Rush origin in her character profile. Just ignore a contradictory comment she makes about Crisis City after you do her challenge act there. It's probably been retconned that's Sega's favorite thing to do. While not canon to the games, I gotta hand it to the Archie comics for giving it a go at making more of the Soul Dimension. It starts off with a couple small changes. Blaze looking for the Soul Emeralds after Eggman Nega displaced them throughout the multiverse, which would become her arc before and after the Super Genesis wave, which I'll get to in a sec. Adaptations of Rush and Rush Adventure were followed up by Blaze and Marine helping Shadow fight off Metal Sonic and get him back home. Sometime later, Doctors Eggman and Wily nabbed Blaze from her home and turned her into Blaze Woman before Sonic and Mega Man were able to reverse it. While caught up in a large-scale battle against a team of Robot Masters, the Super Genesis wave hit, altering reality. But in an interesting move, the Soul Dimension was largely protected from it by the Jeweled Scepter, and Blaze herself retained her previous memories. Elements from before the wave hit wound up in her world, which I think is pretty cool. She, Marine, Amy, and Cream fight off Team Hooligan and the Blackguard Pirates, one of whom is a rebuilt version of the Metal Sonic she previously helped destroy. Once Captain Metal is vanquished and the final Soul Emerald recovered, Blaze uses them to transport Amy and Cream back home, which is the last thing seen of the Soul Dimension before the comic was cancelled. Saying this after only having read a summary of the events involved, While it's not perfect and some things could have been changed, I think it shows that additional stories in Blaze's world are more than doable. They gave her a complete arc while leaving the door open for more, with some super interesting ideas in there too. With that in mind, let's see how they've been handling it in more recent works. Blaze makes her first IDW comic appearance in its 4th issue, where it's shown that the Soul Emeralds can alert her to trouble brewing in other worlds, as well as transport her there at a moment's notice. Sonic makes a comment about how she was late for Sonic Forces, her lack of inclusion in the game being a huge missed opportunity in my eyes, but that's a story for another video. Blaze telling him in Tangle that the Soul Emeralds wouldn't have alarmed her for no reason, deciding to stick around in Sonic's world until the problem is resolved. She assists the Resistance in taking back Angel Island from Metal Sonic by using her burning form against the Egg Fleet, where I believe it's shown for the first time that the transformation quickly burns out the Soul Emerald's energy, unlike how the Super Transformation can be sustained for an extended period of time. She returns to the Soul Dimension after all's said and done, where Sonic crash lands after transporting the Metal Virus to a place where it can't harm anyone, giving him amnesia. And this I really feel could have been a short storyline to show off more of this world. Have Sonic make friends with no memory of who he is, and then find Blaze later. Just a little bit of world building, you know? Instead it's like, hey, do you remember who you are? No. Now you do. Okay, bye! Honestly, the whole ending of the Metal Virus arc, this included, wasn't done very well. A shame, considering how good everything leading up to it was. Why don't we have a look at what the Japanese side of Sega was cooking up with the 2021 Sonic Channel cover stories, where Blaze and the Soul Dimension were featured. It doesn't really add anything, being a simple story about Blaze reminding herself of the value of teamwork, fighting alongside Sonic to protect the Jeweled Scepter from pirate robots after she told him to stay out of it, as it was her responsibility. The fight isn't quite over as Blaze is confronted by a headless Captain Whisker, taking him on alone to allow Sonic to teleport back home. Nothing terribly substantial, but again, is another example in my eyes of how a story set in Blaze's world can work. That potential would all come to a screeching halt, however, with the Sonic IDW 2022 annual. In the story Guardians, it's shown that Blaze and Marine have taken out the rest of the pirate robots and their enemies have all skipped town, putting the Soul Dimension at peace. Knuckles convinces Blaze to spend an extended vacation in Sonic's world, where she's been ever since. While her misadventure story with Sonic was one of the best the folks at IDW have produced in my opinion, I think that ridding her world of danger and villains is one of the worst things they've ever written, along with the Deadly Six takeover of Restoration HQ and Dr. Starline as a character. I spoke of the potential it has for a story set within. Saying all the bad guys fucked off strips Blaze of what she's supposed to be, her world's hero, equivalent to Sonic. Since then, she's just kinda been there. She helped out a bit in the Eggperial City, featuring some real fucking revisionist history, am I right? But along with Silver did the least of anybody there, and then helped Silver make deliveries for the Restoration. It largely feels like they want her around but have nothing for her. Making the situation worse is the confirmation through Frontiers and subsequent statements that the comics are canon, leaving no room for further adventures in the Soul Dimension in the games as well. Unless they're setting up a surprise for when she does return, which doesn't feel like the case at all. The decision I think is bad not only for Blaze as a character, but the world she comes from as well. Now of course, we can't entirely discount the possibility that Sega of Japan may have had something to do with the decision. The brass there were responsible for Shadow's awful characterization in the first couple arcs of the IDW comics, for example. However, it's been confirmed that since the writing of Frontiers, there's a dedicated team with control over the creative direction of the franchise, and longtime comic writer Ian Flynn is a part of that operation. On his Bumblecast podcast last year, he said he'd rather do away with the Soul Dimension and merge it with Sonic's world because he doesn't believe it has enough to it. Which, wouldn't that make it a perfect palette to build upon? New zones, new characters, new MacGuffins, Blaze in a never-ending battle of good and evil with her nemesis Eggman Nega, with other new villains in the mix. Hell, on an earlier Bumblecast he even pitched the idea of a rival nation. That's interesting, that builds the world. But as long as he has this opinion of the Soul Dimension being cumbersome, it seems what we currently have is going to stay. Those comments from Mr. Flynn are why I personally believe the people currently writing Sonic are abandoning the Soul Dimension. I've heard some crazy takes before, like Eggman Nega not being used anymore because his name sounds like a word frequently found in the lyrics of hip-hop songs. But one, no it doesn't. 2, it didn't stop them from using him in plenty of multiplayer games up to Mario and Sonic at the Rio Summer Olympics. And 3, Sega likes to retcon anyway, as previously mentioned. If it was such a problem, couldn't they rename him something like Eggmaster, which I think actually sounds pretty badass? Whatever the case may be, I hope we can see a full-on return to the Soul Dimension someday, because Blaze is a great character and deserves a chance not only to take the spotlight, but fulfill her purpose as its hero.
If you'd like to win a physical copy of Sonic X Shadow Gen, if you'd like to see more, it's free and you can opt out anytime. Here's a playlist with similar content and my Twitter. I have been skull902, thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day. There we go. Let's see here. Robert, I know that you have disagreed with me a good few times on the comics, and that's perfectly valid. I just want to get that out of the way right now. But like your first comment here, no long-lasting franchise is going to be completely consistent. I never said that, like obviously ideally it would be, right? But like you said, it's just not going to happen, and I never said that it you know hasn't happened to other franchises or just isn't an inevitability. Uh, what makes Sonic so interesting in that respect, though, is that they have like 60 to 70 years of retcons and like inconsistencies wrapped within like barely over 30 years. So uh, like that's where that's where the problems lie, is that Sonic is still like a not not terribly recent, but it's still like a fairly recent franchise. Um, in the grand scheme of fictional storytelling. Uh, so it's just way more inconsistent with its continuity and whatnot than other franchises of similar length have been. The other thing was I still don't get how Blaze stopping the current threat to her world stops making her a hero. Won't it make her a successful hero? Uh, Here is the thing about that. Sure, it makes her successful, right? The end goal should be like peace for the world and whatnot. What kind of ruins it, though, is that and perhaps I should have said this in the video. If they're gonna have the world be put at peace, that kind of thing should be like a big fucking storyline. Uh, that should be
Yeah, exactly.
that should be like a monumental moment for Sonic storytelling. Uh,
Yeah, but they just had it like happen like off
yeah,
screen or
it's
off
just like, oh
page,
yeah,
just
you won.
like
You know.
yeah, just like so what happened to Blaze in the Soul Dimension? They won. The end. Now shut up, don't ask questions, basically.
Um. So like uh, that's one thing about it. And then I know that some of the responses in the comments of the video have been like, well, then they brought Blaze over because they don't like trying to find reasons to necessitate her to come over, and I'm like, uh, I don't know about that. Like, or well, I'm sure that's what they think of it, right? They don't want to make an excuse or like try to find a reason for Blaze to come over. But my response to that is like, I think it's better to find a good reason for Blaze to have to come over to Sonic's world than it is for her to come over to Sonic's world and you know, uh, essentially, just stay around doing nothing. Uh,
Yeah.
just have her be there for no reason. Uh, so that's kind of like my thing. Again, they did explain this current thing. She's on vacation, she's giving herself a rest and whatnot. But like uh, the fact that she hasn't been terribly involved just kind of makes me sad, because I think Blaze is a good character and whatnot, and like uh, you know. Uh, like I just feel like she would be more an active part of stopping evil plots and stuff than she has been since she came back. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's kind of my take on that whole thing. Uh, who was that robot pirate guy in the box art for Rush Adventure? That is Captain Whisker. That's an invention by either Eggman or Eggman Nega or both. So he goes around along with along with another robot named Johnny, and they caused some trouble. I don't know the exact story because I think I've only seen like two.
Yeah, that's the full extent that I know, honestly.
I know Rabbit played it for me, and I watched Clement's LP, but it's been so long since either of those two things happened that uh, I have largely forgotten. And then to Robert, who says, I do have my problems with IDW Sonic, just none of the ones you do, it seems. And that is perfectly okay.
Yeah,
I,
that's understandable.
I think that in a world where we can discuss our differences and not hate each other for them, that is a perfectly healthy way to get an understanding of each other.
Yes.
And whatnot. Definitely advocate for healthy discussion of disagreement. Uh, and I'm glad that you seem to see things in the same light, uh, and whatnot. Because I've had some people like in the comments of videos or tell me like in messages or like over a call or something like uh, some people like spring to just like name calling or telling me that like uh, I did such a horrible thing by simply like either trying to be like respectfully disagreeing or like making a joke, for instance. Like being like, you ruined everything by saying an opinion I don't agree with, and I'm just like, come on, like, man, you know, uh,
Oh
s-
my god, Skull, how dare you make her funny? That's so rude.
it's something. The internet has really kind of fucked up people's tolerance for contrary opinions, which
Yeah.
like I think I said it on a recent stream where like the internet was like the internet is one of the greatest tools ever created for archiving research and all that, but it has also done a lot of damage to human socialization.
Yep.
So uh, that's kind of the flip side of that coin. But anyway, my philosophy aside, we got three more videos here to wrap up this marathon. The first of those three is did the fortune cards really replace Amy's hammer? So I had been seeing this debate that Amy just seems to be the most divisive character in Sonic these days, especially when it comes to the characterization conversation. There are so many different takes on Amy, and that's personally like she's tied with Sonic for my favorite character, but it's also why I have said consistently that Amy is way more interesting to talk about, because of just how wildly they've shifted her character and whatnot. So like the new thing that's come about, especially since like Frontiers and the Final Horizon, is like this argument from the people who don't like her current portrayal, characterizing Amy as like, oh, well, she's just all about the cards now, no more hammer, gee, cards and magic. Uh, so I wanted to put that to the test and see if that really is true. So that's what this video is about, and yeah, I just thought that it would be a fun little thing to do. So without any further delay, if I can fucking find it. There it is. So here we go. Did the fortune cards really replace Amy's hammer? Let's get into it. Before we begin, did you know you could potentially win any of these neat prizes just by donating to charity? To find out more, click the card in the upper right corner. Hey everyone, skull902 here. Seems like you guys are really enjoying the Amy Rose video essays because this idea destroyed the other options in the poll I set up for this one. So Amy, as I spoke about in my two previous videos on the subject, is a character who's been the subject of a lot of discourse and stupid fan warring alike because of how differently she's been portrayed over the years.
One thing in particular I hear from plenty of the detractors, and even some of the fans of her current portrayal, is that she's been made into a boring stand-in whose only personality trait is her definitely not tarot fortune cards, which replaced the Pico Pico hammer as her main thing in terms of ability. But has it really, though? Allow me to take a dive into the subject. Let's start with a little bit of history. Amy's profile in the Japanese manual for Sonic CD describes card reading as one of her personal hobbies, and it's revealed that said hobby led her to meeting Sonic at Neverlake. Card reading and mysticism aren't mentioned in the Western material, and even then, it's not brought up again or played upon for the rest of the classic era. They would make references to it in certain places after the adventure games, but for nearly 30 years, those nods to her mystic side were exceedingly rare. Instead, Amy's moveset from Sonic the Fighters had a lot more influence on her character after the transition to 3D. Her physical abilities are centered around the hammer in Sonic Adventure. In my opinion, it sets her apart from the other characters to have a signature weapon like this. Over time, Amy was able to become fast and strong enough to keep up with her friends, but the hammer was always there. One could say based on this that the hammer actually replaced her interest in card reading. That said, in 2021, things would start to change. In Sonic Origins, each game has a new animated intro and outro, and Sonic CD is no exception. Amy reads her cards at Neverlake, which could just be seen as Sega following the Japanese manual. Where it got incorporated into the modern era, however, was in Sonic IDW number 45, where Amy uses the cards to read fortunes to her friends. And again, it seemed small since it was just that one scene. I think when the Final Horizon update of Sonic Frontiers came out 2 years later, discussion on the subject really got going. The Pink Hedgehog already had some detractors from her portrayal in the base game, centered on how she wasn't as bubbly as usual and that there were no conversations between her and Sonic about her feelings for him. Whether you agree with the idea they made her boring or not, the update only seemed to fan the flames about whether it was a good portrayal by making the fortune cards a significant part of her moveset. She doesn't use her hammer in any of the story cutscenes, but does consult the cards. Since then, they've really been pushing the cards as a core part of her character, making an episode of Tales Tube about them and even releasing a real-world deck of the things, among other examples. Some fans swear up and down that this means the cards are replacing Amy's hammer as her main thing entirely. So, let's compare the hammer to card ratio from Final Horizon onward and see if fortune really is overshadowing blunt force. Here's Amy's skill tree in Sonic Frontiers. The jump, homing attack, double jump, boost, side-loop, multi-lock, and spin dash don't use either one, so we can rule those out. Then we have the card float, card attack, card stomp, card spin and its infinite upgrade, the parry and its upgrade, Psy Hammer, high card jump, and the card spin boost. So in all, that's 6 for the cards, 3 for the hammer, and 1 for both. Add an extra point for the card's use in the story, as well as 2 for the hammer and 1 for the card's use in promotional material, and yeah, the fortune cards do indeed take precedence in Frontiers. In Sonic Superstars, the Pico Pico hammer is featured in the opening animation, as well as in Amy's jump animation, the hammer rush, and in promotionals. The fortune cards are nowhere to be found. Point goes to the hammer. Next is Sonic Dream Team. Hammer in promotionals, opening animation, cutscenes, and one of Amy's idle animations. Cards nowhere to be seen. Another point to Pico Pico. The fortune cards do make an appearance in Amy's 30th anniversary comic by IDW, but haven't appeared since as of the time of this video's writing. Meanwhile, she summoned a hammer in 4 of the regular issues released since Final Horizon, as well as the Winter Jam special. This one, once again, goes to the hammer. With the release of Sonic X Shadow Generations, the team went back and made some changes to the cutscene dialogue as well as the character profiles in the original generations. Leaving aside the concerns of the hashtag #LetAmyLovePeople on Twitter, which were soundly proven incorrect once the game actually came out, Amy's new profile adds both items to her description, showing that Sega wants to emphasize the cards going forward as if they were there the whole time. Here's my take on the whole thing. Sega's strong emphasis on the cards and rewriting things to imply they've always been there is weird for sure, but we've still been seeing more of the Pico Pico hammer since they've started doing this. I think the emphasizing of the cards just makes it seem like they've been getting more attention than they actually are. Instead, I would contend that what the cards are replacing is another one of Amy's traits, albeit a minor one. She had extremely good intuition. Being able to find Sonic in SA1, 06, and Unleashed purely by hoping she could, or this moment here with Rouge during the Chow races in IDW. It wasn't seen often, but Amy had a notable penchant for this sort of stuff without straight up having future sight. We can't be sure unless one of the people who worked on this stuff says it, but this might have even been the original replacement for her mystic interests in the first place. They've essentially traded in this minor trait for the cards as a major one, but they don't have to be mutually exclusive either. Maybe Amy really does have some kind of latent ability and the cards are just a placebo? That'd be pretty cool. Whatever the case may be, the fortune cards are likely here to stay, but rest assured, the Pico Pico...
Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know what you thought about the video in the comments. Give it a like. Yourselves a wonderful day.
I think I'm a furry now.
Thanks to my good friend Lyrical for writing the
Oh,
voiceover.
that's where the line was used.
Oh man. That was
You
one that
can tell
I thought
I'm...
of like
Yeah.
I thought of very close to the end of production, so that one was really rushed in. But
How to reveal to Skull that that's my first time watching that video since it came out.
God damn.
I'm a terrible fan.
I
But
forgot
yeah,
to.
I did wonder what happened to that line, and now I know.
Well, there you go. Forgot to put the link down. There it is. I think I
God
missed this part of
forbid
the
a
video.
woman has more than one hobby. Jeez.
Goodness gracious.
I like hammers and cards. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's just like
Also, I think I'm a furry now.
like I put it in like the responses to some people's comments, and perhaps I should have put this in the video too. But I think the perception that the cards have like overshadowed the hammer by such a margin is really marketing.
Yeah, it's an
They just want
exposure thing.
they just want people to remember or learn that the cards were a thing and kind of like reintroduce them. I think uh, once we get like some news stories and whatnot, that's gonna die down, uh, and it kind
Yeah.
of already has. To be honest, like I mean, you know, we got the Tales Tube episode, and like the card deck has released, and it really just has been like more hammer in the majority of media. So like the comics, the you know, Dream Team and Superstars and whatnot. It's like it's really not as prominent as it seems, and that's just all marketing.
Yeah, it just feel like it's not even that people are just like making it up for like clout or whatever. Like it feels more prominent just because that's what the marketing's going into at the moment.
Yeah.
But like that's literally all there is to it, and I appreciate that you went into it with like a balanced like like neutral perspective. Like, okay, I'm not gonna like go into this like assuming one or the other. We're gonna like look at it objectively and categorically break down whether it is more prominent or not. Because then you can't really argue against that, can you?
It's just another silly argument that the fans are getting into. It really doesn't matter. One has not overshadowed the other, or whatever. Uh, or well, I guess it's like
Yes.
if you want to like I guess say that the hammer, like I said in the video, the hammer may very well have overshadowed like Amy's original mystical interests, but that's I mean like that's just how they decided to evolve the characters. A lot did change between the end of the classic era and like the beginning of like the Sonic
Yeah.
Adventure era. Uh, so some stuff was dropped, some was kept, some was merged with the Western continuity, like the name Robotnik, for instance. Uh,
Yeah.
so, uh, like again, it is not as big of a deal as it is, and like the perception that Amy's just all cards and no hammer is it's all marketing. Uh,
Yeah.
they're gonna drop that at some point, and in my opinion, already kind of are, uh, and it'll balance out. Uh, in
Yeah.
my esteemed opinion.
I'm a bicon. Of course I have two things.
Um, so yeah, uh, we're getting to our penultimate video here. Little habits in gaming. This is another one that has been on my to-do list for an extremely long time.
I've been meaning to watch this. You literally dropped this so recently as well.
Yeah, it was earlier this month, and I just think the concept is interesting that when playing video games, people form these little habits, and sometimes it's very specific to the person, sometimes it's a shared experience.
Yeah.
You know, uh, so I just wanted to make note of it, list some of my own, get some friends in on it. Although the production of this video went so quick that only Dylan was able to make a contribution, which is fine. I even surprised myself, like from the beginning of writing to rendering, it took just like a small time, and I was like, oh, I'm making this far faster than I anticipated. So, yeah, uh, but got some outside perspective in there as well. I thought it was a really fun video to make. So, uh, yeah, uh,
Yes.
this here is Little Habits in Gaming. Amazing how the human mind can be so easily stimulated by such small actions sometimes, and I want to talk about it a bit because it's a nearly universal phenomenon. Hey everyone, skull902 here. Have you ever developed this habit, this small little tick you do when playing some of your favorite video games? For most, I imagine the answer is yes. Today I'm going to talk about a few of my own. Let's take a dive into it. Of course, there are things I think most people have done. Bobbing your character to the music, constantly rolling to get at least a perception of faster movement, breaking destructible objects that almost always have no benefit but just feels good to do. Take that, car. Maybe it's going up to the highest point in the game and leaping back down, or jumping at the boss doors in Mega Man. You gotta jump at the boss doors in Mega Man. The first one I personally noticed fits into this category. That one was noticing Mario could stand on practically nothing as I played Super Mario All-Stars when I was a kid. Sometimes curiosity would get the best of me and I'd go see how far I could make the plumber and his brother defy gravity on the edge of platforms before they fell off. Speaking of our favorite Japanese interpretation of an American plumber with Italian ancestry, the opening screen in Super Mario World right when you start a game. There's a small window where you can control Mario before it freeze frames. I always try to get a spin jump in midair when it happens. Honestly, there's a good few in the game I could talk about. During the auto-scrolling section of Iggy's Castle, my brother hugged the wall on the left side to avoid getting crushed and we discovered Mario would glitch out before holding position. I do it every time now. Or when you first get Yoshi and he gives you that text box? Kinda the same thing as the opening screen. I try to see how far away I can get from it before the freeze occurs. How about Mario's old rival, Sonic? When I first watched the Sonic Tales back in 2007, I too would start saying silly things in the classic games while looking up to give the impression my character was talking. Forget where I learned to do it, but every time I play Sky Sanctuary in Sonic 3 and Knuckles as Sonic or Tails, you know I gotta pay my respects to the red guy. Here's one I've done plenty of times on stream and in both Let's Plays, and maybe you guys have noticed. In the Sonic Adventure games, when I beat a boss, I turn my character to look to the camera, which is easier in some cases than others. Something about it feels so badass, like as if the character did some sick shit in an anime or something. Depending on the angle, you can even get an ultra Chad-worthy shot of Sonic in the results screen when you beat the Egg Viper. It's like a bonus. If we want to get specific, in SA1, you could always wait for this spike gate to lift in Sonic's Emerald Coast, but why do that when you can do a little bloop and go right through as it opens? Amy's got a gymnastics-type jump when you hit the ground with her hammer while running at full speed. I admittedly spam this move a lot because I love the height and animation. Doubt it makes me go any faster, but it's fun, damn it. How about beating Tails' Windy Valley by following the pop-in? Completely and totally unnecessary, but interesting to look at. Speaking of Windy Valley, I found you can get this really dynamic shot of Sonic in the sun if you hold the right trigger as soon as he bounces off this spring. As for SA2, Pumpkin Hill is like a ritual for me now. I simply must go to Pumpkin Mountain, find Omochao, and then chuck him off this ledge. You can see his full descent, it's hilarious. Mission Street? Fuck all this platforming, I'm a fly over here. In the Chow Garden, I can fly his tails infinitely and you can make him spin. As Eggman, his running animation is so stupid, I love going around in circles. A specific series of air dashes lands you perfectly in the teleporter from the Neutral Garden or Chow Kindergarten. It's something I do often. I may be a Pokemon fan, but my experience in the games is lacking compared to others. One thing that's persisted no matter which game I've played is my level grinding method. Most people probably go through the grass, water, or caves indiscriminately. Since I was a kid, I would circle around these areas for whatever reason. Makes no sense, but that's how I do it. Just as well, if I can ride my bike in an unusual area, I'm probably going to. Here's my friend Dylan Bradley with a couple of his own examples.
Have you ever found yourself doing this? You! Well, I know I have. And not only just because of Vindo, be it his joke, but whenever you use a power, be it a color power like here or a super move, anything that gets announced, I personally get caught up in the fun and yell right along with it, announcing whatever it is I'm activating, even if no one's around to care. Wow, looks like I have an intruder on my ship. They look a little overly confident for setting off the alarm. No, you didn't! See, to me, whenever a character says something that's blatantly wrong like that, I just have to correct them, because that alarm definitely went off. Sometimes I love just swinging around, and then, then shit like this happens, where I wind up finding a place where I'm definitely not supposed to be, but I love finding places like that, because it's like telling the game, no, I will explore you however the fuck I want, even if you clearly didn't intend for me to, stand on top of that door.
That's just a small sample of this kind of thing, but I think it's fascinating how so many people have similar quirks about the way they play particular games. Just one of the many qualities that makes us all human, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about. What might some of your small gaming habits be? Let me know in the comments. It truly is a shared experience, one that most gamers I'm sure can relate to. Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know and my Twitter. I have been skull902, thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day.
It was a fun video.
I love you.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was an extra bit. Sorry.
Miracle.
Didn't mean to interrupt you there, Rapid.
That was Trip.
Oh, I thought the video said Rabbit. I was not reading correctly, clearly.
Rabid recorded Batman.
Oh, right. Well, sorry for interrupting Trip then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, it's just fun, man.
Yeah, gaming habits is just it's just really fun, and especially like to talk about them. I'm literally doing one of my gaming habits like right as we speak. Because I've got the stream in the corner while I'm playing Stardew Valley, and what I like to do, because I play on mobile and it's a touch screen, I like to like zigzag my walking, but really rapidly, for absolutely no reason other than it's just satisfying to do. And sometimes if you zigzag it enough, your character will just vibrate like the world is ending, and it's the most satisfying thing ever.
Oh dear.
And they'll just go. It's great.
My goodness.
And then another habit I like. I have a few like walking habits, it seems, in like games. But when I play Banjo-Kazooie, for example, I like to walk around mostly as Kazooie because she makes like little bird noises as she runs around, right? Especially when she jumps, so I'll walk around as her, but I'll like jump everywhere and just bounce everywhere. So she's just going because it's just a really like funny sound to hear. It's just really weirdly satisfying.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I get that. Just little quirks and isms that we have playing games is just really fun to do. There's no reason other than it's just fun to do.
Gotcha. Hello to Cameron, or Cameron D, however you want.
Hi, Cameron.
Welcome to the stream. We've got one more video left to showcase for 2024, and this one's a pretty special one. This is our half trip to Sonic Symphony Chicago.
Yay!
We meant to go to Sonic Symphony together. Me, TTP, and his girlfriend Rouge, along with a few others, such as Shadaken and Derpy Tater and other couple creators. The intent was always to make a video about the experience. Unfortunately, my body decided to really fuck with me, basically right when we got to the hotel, and I was not fit to go to the concert. So, TTP thankfully got a bunch of pictures and videos, so we were able to get the experience from his perspective. So we were able to save the video in that way. It's just basically half of what we intended to do, because I wasn't able to get my own perspective. But TTP came in clutch, and we were able to salvage the video and everything. So here is the video about that experience going to Chicago, and TTP's recollection of the concert. This is our half trip to Sonic Symphony Chicago. Whenever I can find the video. There it is. So yeah, enjoy everybody. Hey everyone, skull902 here, and this one's gonna be weird as things went unexpectedly. But back in April, my good pals Tails the Prower 71 and Rouge of the Night gave me an offer I quite frankly couldn't refuse. Tickets to Sonic Symphony in Chicago on October 12th, a hotel room of my own, everything paid for. I happily accepted the offer, and planning began. We talked about it behind the scenes every now and then over the following few months, and, on the personal side of things, I wanted to be extra prepared. I got my shots about 3 weeks beforehand in case someone there had something, and I went about procuring some items so I could recognizably be there as me without my face being revealed. Special thanks to Teespring for taking so long with my order I had to bootleg my own t-shirt to have it in time. The biggest part of preparations was making the announcement itself, putting out a video on September 30th that I would, in fact, be making my first unofficial public appearance at the Symphony. Surely everything was gonna turn out fine. Meeting TTP and Rouge was such a beautiful experience. I walked out to them outside my apartment and we were all smiles, chatting it up and getting the car loaded. They even got me a couple Amy Rose themed gifts. I'm sorry I couldn't think of anything to return the favor with. Very sweet of them, and I promise you both I will one day return the favor. It was honestly a pretty smooth ride. Felt like we were making good headway the entire time. In preparation for this video, TTP was on the ball shooting some B-roll footage, and my god, Indiana from the Michigan border and Illinois have some really boring highway welcoming signs. Step it up, man, Michigan's is legit. It felt almost surreal getting to Chicago from I-94 though. The whatever it is now tower pops up first, and then the whole skyline appears right in front of you, almost as if you're driving right into a picture. We got to the hotel and I've not been hit with such a wave of exhaustion often, and this was the absolute worst time for it to happen. About 2 hours before the show, I started feeling heavy and just dead. Then, as it started to rain, my allergies kicked in, making me sniffy and slightly scratchy-throated. I tried waiting it out, but it wasn't letting up and I had to cancel last minute, which I felt horrible about. Again, if anyone was disappointed by the news, I'm truly sorry. I had quite a rough night that night. Exhaustion and allergy symptoms led into stomach cramps and I couldn't get a lot of sleep. One silver lining was that I did get some footage of something TTP hadn't, the hotel room, while he and Rouge were at the Symphony being mildly entertained.
Yeah, my boy! My boy!
I felt well enough before bed to do a little tour of the room because I promised some friends I would. TTP and Rouge really hooked me up. It was like a mini suite. A separated bedroom with giant bed, TV, and balcony, nice bathroom, robe included, a living area with TV number 2, desk, and a mini fridge to put your Baja Blast in. It was pretty sick, and again, my thanks to them for providing me with such a fancy place to stay in. I really treasure such kindness. That being said, this is about the Symphony experience, and, while I wasn't able to attend, TTP and Rouge were, and they got plenty of pictures and footage to show. Here's TTP to tell you about it.
Thank you, Skull. Hey everybody, Tails the Prower 71 here. Before we dive in, I just want to thank Skull so much for joining us on this trip. It was an honor and privilege to meet Skull, and while we couldn't be together at Sonic Symphony, it was still an honor to road trip with him to Chicago and back. Rouge and I are both very sorry for that he started feeling unwell after we arrived in Chicago. Let's chat about my Sonic Symphony experience. By the time we arrived, the venue doors were already open, and Sonic fans were flooding the lobby. Being surrounded by hundreds of Sonic fans in one room is something that's really hard to put into words. When you're surrounded by people who feel just as passionate as you do about any fandom, this isn't just true with Sonic, but any fandom, the atmosphere is incredibly electrifying. And Sonic is absolutely no different. It's like being in the same room with a couple thousand of your friends, just singing along to the songs that, you know, we grew up with. Laughing at all the fun and meme moments, like seeing Eggman in the Chow Lobby in SA2, or Tails yeeting the Burger Man statue in Station Square in Sonic Adventure. To quote Rouge of the Night, it was unifying. I found myself humming and singing along with the orchestral music. Dreams of an Absolution was a masterpiece, and it definitely brought tears to my eyes. It was wonderful to see Sonic Heroes getting much needed love. And of course, let's not forget the classic medleys of Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and Knuckles. The games that I grew up with, the games of my era. And of course, Sonic Mania, absolutely Mania, getting some love as well. And the orchestra nailed it, just absolutely nailed it. Being that this is the year of Shadow the Hedgehog, the Symphony definitely did not let us down with Shadow content. All of Me kicked things off after intermission, and everyone was absolutely just getting into it. Like, I mean, the floor was shaking and everything. It was absolutely intense. All Hail Shadow followed I Am All of Me, and wow, the energy. I mean, the energy that just kind of followed All of Me to All Hail Shadow, just, oh man. And the rock band just absolutely knocked it out of the park. It was phenomenal. So the Sonic Symphony, kudos to everybody at the Sonic Symphony and to Shota Nakama for knocking it out of the park there and throwing us a curveball with throwing Never Turn Back in there for us. So it was absolutely beautiful and phenomenal. Knuckles got a lot of love this year, with the awesome rap battle with the Ghost Pumpkin Soup and Unknown from ME getting played and having a nice little rap battle. That was awesome. And again, and Chicago did not disappoint in that for sure. And Chicago also did not disappoint in Reach for the Stars. We lit that stage up. And how can you not get choked up when Endless Possibility hits your eardrums? Oh my gosh. I cried. I straight up cried. And we started the heavy metal section off with Break Through It All. Of course, Wyvern's theme from Sonic Frontiers. By this point in the symphony, my voice was shot. I mean, it was a shot. So, like, I'm off key, singing horribly. I can't sing, like, you know, at this point, because I was so busy, like, yelling and screaming from earlier. Just, oh my goodness. And the same was also true for Find Your Flame. That came up next, and again, everybody was just getting into it. It was absolutely beautiful. And this year, we actually got I'm Here, vocal I'm Here from the band, which was amazing. And that built up to the two finale and encore songs, Escape from the City and Live and Learn. Oh, to end off the show. Oh my god, just chef's kiss. It was wonderful. And the energy from not just the band and the orchestra, but the crowd was absolutely amazing. It was a wonderful symphony. Comparing it to Sonic Symphony Chicago 2023, I would say 2024 was just as epic. It was awesome hearing the new songs, and I'm happy that the team behind the symphony listens to the fans and adds new music each year. I think that's really cool, and I can't talk about I can't end right here. I gotta talk about some stuff here regarding friendships. Shadakin over on Twitch, Rouge and I bought his ticket for the Sonic Symphony as well, so he could attend with us. And it was such an honor and pleasure to meet Shad. Shad, thank you so much for the gifts that you gave Rouge and I. Thank you so much. We also got to meet Derpy Tater, also a streamer on Twitch, who brought us candy. thank you so much. Like, that was absolutely amazing and very kind and generous of you, both of you. Thank you so much. Just the memories that were formed from this symphony was just absolutely astounding. After the show, Rouge, Shadikin, Derpy Tater, and we met up for midnight breakfast in Chicago, which was awesome. We were just hanging out, talking about the show, talking about Sonic, and our other interests and hobbies. And that's so cool when you can actually talk to some fellow content creators and streamers out there in the wild that are just as passionate about Sonic and their hobby and their, you know, other interests and hobbies. And it makes you excited and want to learn more as well. So the symphony, it's more than just music. It's about forming these bonds of friendships that, you know, that lasts a lifetime. And I think that is something that we can all, as Sonic fans, aspire to. And to Derpy Tater and Shadikin, I hope to meet you all again very soon for more adventures. And if any of you ever get the chance to attend a Sonic Symphony, please do. It's well worth it. So open your heart, take in the music, and live and learn. Back to you, Skull.
The next morning, as I said, was a rough one. I gave TTP and Rouge a status update, and I really appreciate how understanding they were of the situation. We were able to leave for home with time to spare before checkout, and while I was feeling generally icky throughout the ride, we all still had a good time conversing, mildly celebrating as we crossed back into Michigan.
We are home.
Most of the trip was rainy, which had me a little concerned considering all the power outage issues I've had this year, and the last notable thing about the ride back was TTP updating us on the score of the Detroit-Dallas NFL game, which ended up being a resounding victory for the good guys. We had a good long goodbye in the parking lot of my apartment and wished each other well, looking forward to next time whenever it comes. I'd like to thank TTP and Rouge for everything they did for me before, during, and after the show. Shadikin and Derpy Tater as well for also being understanding of why I couldn't make it. To them and any fans that might have expected me there, once again, my sincerest apologies for my absence. I'm glad to hear that our meetup group was still able to have a great time, and if there's one good thing that came from my absence, it's that I had money left over to make a big donation to my Extra Life page and get us further to this year's goal. So that's our story. Obviously different from what we'd planned, but I hope this still ended up being a good look at the show. And if anyone from Sonic Symphony happens to be watching, please come to Detroit. The Fox Theater's right there. I could make that show easy peasy. Or at least do Cleveland again, that's not too far away. Please? Thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know what you thought about the video in the comments. Give it a like if you liked it, or a dislike if you didn't. If you'd like to see more, subscribe and click the bell for notifications. It's free and you can opt out anytime. Here's a playlist with similar content, and my Twitter. I have been skull902, thank you again for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Take that, Burger Man.
Take that, Burger Man.
So yeah,
the applause is so nice to hear at the end. That's a really cool thing you put in there.
You know, TTP mentioned, you know, like the meme moments, and when I went to watch the clip as I was, you know, putting the footage in the main video, and I was like, this crowd reaction is actually just really good. So I'm gonna have to, I have to put this at the end.
Of course.
Spidey says, "Oh, I love their mild enthusiasm." But yeah,
I laughed at the bit where it was just like we were so excited to get back to Detroit. We're home. Just very chill. We're home.
Nah, man, I went like we're homes.
Good shit.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, again, the trip could have gone better for me, but you know, I'm glad that TTP and Rouge and our other meetup buddies were able to have a good time and experience the fun and excitement of the symphony. And I can only hope that one day I shall also be able to, you know, get in there as well. I forgot to paste the link down again. Let me just do that one more time.
Oh, whoopsie.
Let's see, Symphony video. There we go. So that puts a cap on all the videos that I had meant to show here today. Although I did forget one, so let's just very briefly, because I meant to mention this at after I showed the tribute to the 2024 902RL season. Since we are changing over to the WAGL and whatnot tomorrow, there was one thing that we didn't get to show off. As far as like the Skull902 Racing League is concerned, like the outgoing name, we tried to get like Mario Kart or Splatoon together in the final months of the year, but unfortunately things didn't quite work themselves out. So the usual 902RL intro, uh, we actually did do an experimentals version of it. So it was black and white, the race flag colors for the standard. It was blue for ASRT. It was red for TSR. So we made a green one for experimental events that we ended up not being able to use. So I'm just going to show that off real quick. So yeah, we get to use that at least once, at least this one time before the name changes. So yeah, hopefully we can get those experimentals in pretty soon, because it'd be fun to try out some other games. That's what we're looking to do. Just add some more games to the lineup and whatnot. But that's for another time. Now is time to make our final reflections on 2024, what it meant to us, and everything. So I'll just say, as far as the channel goes, it was pretty good. About the same as last year. I had some ideas, made them come to life, and I had fun making, all sorts of different videos. I am experiencing like a transitional point here where, I'm going away from skits and voice acting, and sprite videos more specifically.
I'm kidding.
And
You're good.
and
I just wanted to do a footy cry.
no worries. And from that, something that I've been doing basically since the beginning, and I'm kind of like leaning more into the reviews and stuff now. So like, the transition's been slow, but I feel like I'm coming into my own and making some stuff I'm really proud of. Not that I'm not proud of a lot of like the skits and voice acting content, of course. It's just I'm feeling pretty right about the direction that I'm going in. But obviously, I want to take the sprite videos and have it go out with a bang. So hopefully, whenever Clone Calamity comes out, it can be a nice fun time for everybody.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So as far as the channel goes, like it's been pretty good. I've been very fortunate to be able to continue doing this. It is my passion. It is the one thing I really think that I can truly do, and not fuck it up tremendously. So uh,
Aw.
thank you all for your continued support, because without you, I wouldn't be able to, make these silly videos and do these streams and all that nice stuff. As far as the year personally is concerned, definitely hit some roadblocks and whatnot. Especially like between like the middle of August and the middle of September was a very difficult period. Um,
Yeah.
so, like, personally speaking, from January to the end of December, like, I had some highs, had some lows. The lows got, a fair bit lower than the lows of previous years, but and I'm still kind of feeling the effects in some way, shape, or form. But I am so thankful to have had a fantastic group of friends around with me. Um, to
Aw.
help me through, and either give me a moment of levity to just forget about it, or talk me through it, or whatever. I'll give you guys a good example. During that really bad period, that like month long, end of August, or sorry, middle of August to middle of September. Uh, it was at some point where I was just really down and out. And I just like I knew that Shadow-kun was online. And so I was just like, "Hey, Shad, like I'm sorry if I'm bothering you, but can we please just talk? I just need to talk and like, hang out with someone. Just life is kind of hitting me hard right now, please." And
Hmm.
she, despite having been in a long call with friends beforehand, and she was very tired and needed some sleep, she gave me like 4 hours, uh,
Aw.
and we, just had a good time, just being around each other and whatnot. And that's the kind of friendships that I have the privilege of being able to enjoy uh, and whatnot. To have such good people like that around to care about me when I need it the most really hits me in the heart. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for being there for me when I needed it. Um, Other special shout outs, I think I should always give one to Rabid. He and I have been around and known each other for at least 16 years, possibly 17. Uh, so
That makes
we're
me feel very old, and
oh
so,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
God knows
we
how old that makes you feel.
yeah, it really do. He and I have been hanging out together, and we've been friends for almost 2 decades now. So that's just add some more grays in my head hair. Add more few grays to my beard as well, because it already has a lot. What's a few more? Um, but yeah, uh, it just uh, you know it just warms my heart that Rabbit has stuck around me for so long, and
Yeah,
whatnot. And
Rabbit's a good bro.
he is a
He's a
true
real
bro.
one.
Plenty of nights spent together just hanging out, watching a bunch of stupid shit, making a bunch of stupid noises and stupid jokes at each other. Man, we are two peas in a pod, and
Platonic soulmates.
yeah, yeah, just absolutely love the guy, and you know, as my longest tenured friend, I truly owe a debt of gratitude to him for his friendship. I also want to extend a big thank you to TTP because he and Rouge have really taken big steps. I feel like, in terms of just like doing stuff that you didn't have to do. I saw the bill at the hotel room. Like, they slipped one to me under the door in the middle of the night. I saw that number, and to spend that much on
Cool.
on little old me and not expect anything back for it, like, you guys are amazing. Uh, uh, I cannot express just how grateful I am that you would do something that nice for me. Uh, and just be so friendly, and the fact that you guys weren't upset at all when I
Haha,
told you
Skull
that
deserves nice things. Point and laugh chat.
I
Slash lighthearted.
but but no, for real though, like, it was just such a generous thing that they did for me, and not just that, but I know TTP and I have had some real personal conversations and whatnot. He's also been one of those who've kind of been there for me when I was feeling down and out. Um, and whatnot, someone that I could really trust. And then all of the technical help as well. Like when my computer was starting to experience problems back in October, and he tried to help
Oh, yeah.
uh, troubleshoot that, and also thanks to Dylan for that as well. And we did eventually find the solution. Um, but it's like that, and also I think TTP's really been like the biggest proponent of the league and trying to get it to grow and whatnot. TTP has just been there for me in ways that I cannot describe. Uh, a big major thanks to you, my good dude. Um,
Yeah.
all of my homies in the Axe Squad. You guys are a special group, and I hope that we can all have a wonderful, happy time next year at Kat and Tori's wedding, uh, and just
Yay!
have some big old fun. Trip and the Chato group as well. You guys have also been a big pillar to lean on, and just the generosity of you guys has been uh, palpable and huge. I told the story on stream at some point, but when I was having like the power outage issues like near the end of August, like Trip nearly got me a hotel room when the electricity was in danger of going out again. Uh, so
Jesus.
like just again like I'm going to be repeating myself a lot here with these shout outs and whatnot, but just the generosity on display is amazing to me. Uh, that like I mean that much to people blows my mind,
Yeah.
uh, and it's really surreal. Um, then we have this one guy, you see him behind the scenes every now and then, kind of hidden, Lyrical Miracle 9608.
Hey.
uh, just to talk about people who've been with me through thick and thin, and I've been able to have like deep conversations with, and can talk about like, personal stuff, how we feel about certain things and whatnot. Miracle's always been there, and
No.
you know, uh, I'm glad to have him around in that capacity, as well as someone that I work with on videos and whatnot. To have
Yeah.
friends like the ones I've mentioned, just really gets me in the heart and whatnot. Uh,
No.
Man,
I really
other
appreciate that. You like I've said it before, I'll say it again. You're like a big brother to me, man. So
oh, thank you.
big
Uh,
bro hugs.
yeah, man. Um,
Yeah, buddy.
Some other quick shout outs that I would like to give would be to KN and Vinny, the Sonic Song crew that I hang with, uh, for continuing to give the support and whatnot. Vinny, I miss being on your streams and getting to hang out every Friday and whatnot. And the shit you've been going through with YouTube has been really, really unfortunate, and I hope that you can get your account back and talk to the right people
Oh
and all that.
yeah, I saw about that. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Uh, KN has always been a supporter and a happy contributor to the channel, and I am infinitely thankful to her for the help that she has given me and everything.
Yes.
Um, my little brother Coco, for helping us out with the league and expanding it and giving us ideas and everything. That in addition to being a wonderful little brother. Um,
Aw.
Glitch Kitten, again for taking up the offer to be a part of the league and the expansion, integrate your community into ours to make things bigger and better once we went public, and becoming a pretty good friend in the process as well. Uh, and whatnot. It's been fun to hang out with you, and I hope that we can do even more collabs and stuff. Uh, in the future. Uh, so, just off the top of my head, I think that that rounds up the list. If I've forgotten anybody, please don't take that as an insult. I have so many friends that I consider near and dear and special to me that I can't think of all of them at once, but trust me, you guys are important to me, and I hope that I can only be as like 10% as important to you guys. Uh, you know, uh, you you continue to make things easier to deal with, and uh, give me the kind of support that really means a lot. It takes me a long way, and just without you, uh, I may not even be around. So like, my props to you guys uh, for showing some care and uh, doing a wonderful job of it. You
Love
mean
wins, chat. Love wins.
you mean the world to me. Uh, so that
Yeah.
is my piece on the year 2024. Miracle. It's about half an hour before the clock turns over.
Yeah,
You wanna you
exactly.
wanna
Like,
you wanna put in some
it's
words?
crazy. Of course, yeah. I'd like to basically ditto Skull's sentiment, but yeah, I'd like to thank everyone that's like been in my life this year and every year and any year in my life. I really appreciate you all. That extends to chat as well. I of course really appreciate Skull. Like I said, he's like a big bro to me. And hell, if it wasn't for him, I mean, I wouldn't have gotten the voice acting gigs that I did, and I'm really grateful to him for that, and for always being there, for being a true bro. And yeah, he's a real one, chat. And
Thank you so much.
yeah, and yeah, I just love and appreciate everyone so much. This year feels like it just flew by. A lot of people I know are like, "Oh, this year's dragged," and I was like, "Has it?" Because I feel like the last New Year's Eve was like last week. It's gone so fast, but I really appreciate everyone and anyone that has been in my life in any way, for any length of time. And I really appreciate my family for being there. I've actually had this year, I actually probably had one of the best Christmases I've had. Um, despite some like absolute family chaos going on, like soon afterwards. But I've actually had like one of the best Christmas holidays, because stood on my set of drawers right now, I have some Christmas cards. As I do, I like to stand them up. And I'm a hoarder. I keep all my cards that anyone ever sends me. But I'm especially proud of these ones in particular, um, that I will always cherish and treasure, because this year I finally got my first ever son Christmas card. And it's I've been out as a trans man for 10 years now, nearly like 10 and a half years now. Um living as a man closer to 11 now. So that's crazy. I thought it was never going to happen, me being like fully accepted, but it did. I finally got or at least we're getting there anyway. Like, progress is being made. I have a card addressed "Merry Christmas, son and daughter-in-law" on the front for me and my fiance, so that's amazing. I mean, that's huge progress. Last year, I mean, despite living as a man and despite being engaged, last year, this, despite it being very cute, don't get me wrong, I still kept it, but last year I got a daughter and girlfriend card. So like huge leaps and bounds in progress there. So I finally have a son and daughter-in-law card now. And then my sister and her boyfriend got me a Christmas card. Because son and daughter-in-law card doesn't have any names in it, just has the message and then signed off my parents. But then my sister went out of the way to actually like use my name in that card and actually say to Luke and Alice Merry Christmas. And it's little things like that that just like, it seems so little and trivial to people, but it means the fucking world to me. And I'm like actually so happy to finally see like my family coming to like accept me for who I am now, slowly but surely. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm obviously always ever grateful to my fiance Alice, who I just straight up wouldn't be here without her. And and she's amazing. And yeah, obviously, as soon as it hits midnight, I'm gonna call her and say Happy New Year and that I love her and that I've missed her and haven't spoken to her since last year, of course. But yeah, it's just been so wonderful, like having my family and my fiance and my really good friends supporting me and everything in more ways than one in all areas of my life. And yeah, it's been up and down, of course it has. Like there's literally family trouble going on right now that I won't get into. But thoughts and prayers are appreciated. And yeah, it's been such a crazy year for everyone, and I'm just really grateful that we're all here and we're all here for each other, and we've made it through another year, and we are halfway through the 2020s now, which is scary but exciting at the same time, and I look forward to seeing what's to come and many more adventures and shenanigans abound. So it's all scary and exciting, and I look forward to all of it, and I'm ready for all of it. So uh super huge thank yous and happy holidays and happy New Year's to everyone. And I appreciate and love you all so much. So yeah, that is my that is I have said my piece on that.
Well, there you go. Dominic Z, hello. And a happy New Year
Boing.
to you, actually, because I see the German flag there, and
Oh
it's New
shit.
Year in Germany. So
Frohes neues Jahr.
yeah, and
Uh
happy New Year to you. And a happy New Year to Shad, which it's kind of funny, Miracle. And, like as soon like I gave Shad her shout out, right? Like the the like deep and personal one. Almost right after she DM'd me on Discord without knowing, uh, and sent me a Happy New Year message. So that's fun. But
yeah, because
it's
she's in the future now,
yeah,
so
yep. She is in the future now. Hot Wheels is introducing Optimus Prime for the 2025
future.
main line. Well,
Gotta get the SpongeBob reference in before the year ends.
future.
Future.
Well, I hope you enjoy that Hot Wheels there, Dominic. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was a nice heartwarming story there, Miracle. And
No, thank you.
I knew that there was
And I
more I
meant
wanted to say
every
about it, but
word.
I forgot because I'm stupid. Uh, so, uh,
We do be a little stupid here. It's all good.
we do. Um, so yeah, that'll put a wrap on 2024 as far as my channel is concerned and whatnot. I'll have an update for you guys tomorrow as per usual, and then I'm gonna take my typical week off for the start of New Year's, uh, and
Of course.
just give myself some rest, some time to collect myself and come back anew in a new headspace, and hopefully you know. Uh, can get things going and have some exciting projects. I've definitely got like ideas for new My Thoughts videos because that's kind of like what I'm leaning into is the more commentary and criticism sort of vibe. Um, Clone Calamity. I'm gonna be working on that real hard. Hopefully we can make that May 9th release date and everything. Just lots of
Oh,
stuff.
but coming in birthday clutch there.
Yeah, just lots of stuff on the docket for 2025. Stream ideas and everything. I listed a whole bunch of games that I'm looking to play yesterday at the end of that stream. So, uh, you know, as good as 2024 was for the channel, looking forward to 2025 and what we can bring to the table there, and hopefully things can be even bigger and better between, like I said, new games being played, uh, the My Thoughts videos, Clone Calamity, uh, the new era for the league, out with Skull902 Racing League, in with Waggle. So just lots going on next year, and I hope that that you guys have enjoyed this content enough to look forward to it and follow me into next year. And I promise to do as much as I
On
can.
me into next year.
And I promise to do as much as I can to earn the time that that you take to watch these videos and streams, and uh, give you the best entertainment that I possibly can. So, with all that said, I have been skull902.
And I have been LyricalMiracle9608.
Thank you for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful new year. Bye-bye, everybody.
Yay! Happy New Year, everyone. Bye.
Happy New Year!